stream. You know what time it is? It is your boy Genesis. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is currently 1:20. Even if I am like what 35 minutes late. Sorry guys. Okay, it is currently the 9th of January 2025 and it's a lot going on in the United States today. And yeah, we're going to talk about it. We're going to see what's going on around the United States. As usual, we want to say thank God for a new day. Thank you, Lord, for a beautiful sunny day here in Georgia. And yeah, let's get it started. All right. So of course, today is the funeral service for the former president, the 39th President Jimmy Carter at the Washington National Cathedral. And everybody is there. Every past president, every past first lady, every vice president, every past vice president. Yeah, they're all here. Some people are not, but most people are. Joe Biden, Kamala, Trump, Obama. I don't think Michelle Obama is there, but of course, Bill Clinton is here with Hillary. She's absolutely here for sure. And then this is funny, but Trump and Obama were sort of kind of like having a conversation, and it's going viral. The picture of Trump and Obama together is going absolutely viral, and it's like, okay, what is going on right here? But I'm going to play you that video right now, and then I will let us react to it over here. And yep. Okay, here we go. So of course, you see Bush right there. What are they talking about? Like, what are they talking about, y'all? What is Trump telling Obama? Why is Obama nodding his head like, yeah, mm-hmm, okay, right. Like, what is he telling Obama? He's saying, I told you I was going to win, right? Told you. I told you I was going to win, didn't I? Yo, this is too funny, yo. What is he telling Obama? It's like, is he telling Obama, I told you, hey, you're going to be a Republican or what? I don't know what he's telling Obama, but it's like he is making conversations with Obama for sure. And also, there's another video of Bill and Hillary Clinton, and it appears that they didn't say hello to Obama. I don't know, maybe they already said Obama. They already said hello to Obama outside, maybe, but they didn't say hello to Obama. Check this video out right here. Bill walks in with Hillary, and they didn't say hello. Look at that. Of course, Bush gets up. She says hello. Hillary shakes hands with everybody, hands, but doesn't say hello to Obama. She just goes right ahead to sit down. What is going on right here? Ha 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 ha. And look, take, yo. Take a look at Obama. He keeps talking to Trump. Obama keeps talking to Trump, yo. Obama keeps talking to Trump. He didn't even say hello to Hillary. Oh my goodness. Obama may be feeling Trump at this point. Oh my lord. This right here is too spicy, y'all. What? All right. Anyway, we're gonna move on from that. It seems like there's a lot of feud going on in politics at this point. But we're gonna go to California, okay? Because there's a lot going on in the United States right now.
The Palisades fire is now the biggest blaze, burning over 17,000 acres and still at 0% containment. But firefighters were reportedly running out of water from hydrants as they fought those flames yesterday.
Dr. Houman Hamadi escaped with his family as fire approached his home. He joins us now. Dr. Hamadi, obviously you're living this horror right now, but building off of Brooks' report, where do you lay the blame? Who's accountable for this tragedy?
Thank you, Todd. It's pretty obvious who's at blame for this, and it's Governor Gavin Newsom, it's Mayor Karen Bass, and on a county level, it's the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, 5 women whose job it is to try to guide all of public safety and infrastructure for the Los Angeles County. These people have one main job, and that main job is public safety. It is not climate change. It's not DEI. It's not high-speed rail that's going to cost $200 billion and take 50 years to build. It is one thing, and it's public safety, and that is the one thing they have not been focused on. Karen Bass went off to Ghana on a political junket. Gavin Newsom called a special session of the California State Legislature to spend $25 million to Trump-proof California before Trump even takes office, and then 3 days ago has a press conference bragging about this disaster of a high-speed rail. They've done everything possible aside from focus on this. And you look at Karen Bass, she spent billions of dollars building places to put homeless people and illegal immigrants, putting them up in expensive hotels at a few $100s a night, while cutting the budget of the fire department by close to $20 million at a time when we need it most.
Yeah.
The fire department is understaffed. They're short on air resources, short on individuals, short on trucks, short on water, of all things. This is something that we predicted, something we knew would happen. I took my family up to a mountain in the Palisades overlooking the whole community and actually showed them. And I said these words about 6 months ago: this place will all burn. Why? Because it was obvious to anyone that this is dry and it's ready to go up, and we have no resources to prevent it. And unfortunately, what I predicted came true. This should never have happened. And had they done the right things in advance to prevent it and to attack it as soon as it began, this never would have gotten to this point.
And you mentioned, Doctor, that the fire department is understaffed. We got to know you during the COVID-19 pandemic, and during that time, there were firefighters who were let go because they didn't get vaccinated. And boy, does the city need those firefighters now.
This was one of the biggest tragedies of COVID, is they got rid of so many firefighters who were young, healthy people who were never at risk of COVID to begin with, people who work outdoors for the most part anyway, never exposed in a meaningful way, and told them, unless you get this vaccine that you don't necessarily need, you're out. And guess what happened? They either fired them, or worse, they left and went to other fire departments, abandoning Los Angeles, leaving LA with a major shortage that lasts to this day. Even on top of that, again, with the budget cuts, even if they wanted those people, they don't have the money for them anymore. This is an absolute disaster. completely preventable, and I think it's criminal negligence on their part.
Speaking of money, insurers reportedly dropping fire coverage for hundreds of California homes months ago in the Pacific Palisades area. Doctor, what happens to your friends, your family, your neighbors who want to rebuild but now don't have that insurance coverage and maybe aren't Hollywood celebrities with basically self-insurance where they can just write another check and build their home in a few months?
Yeah, this is the part of the story no one's talking enough about. They assume because of the words Malibu and Pacific Palisades, these are all very wealthy people. I'm a treasurer of the beach club, La Costa Beach Club in Malibu. I know many of the 300 people who all lost their homes over there, who are members of that club, who live in that surrounding community. Every one of them lost their homes. And guess what? There are firefighters, teachers, retired elderly people. There are people who are blue collar, low income, who've lived in that community for decades before Malibu got expensive. We're not talking about wealthy people, people who really do not have the resources. And with that lack of insurance and the impossibility of getting insurance in the future after what we just saw, guess what's going to happen? Reconstruction is going to become next to impossible. Add to that all of the administrative headaches from the California Coastal Commission, as well as Malibu and LA cities that are going to have to watch over this, and the lack of construction resources and how they're going to jack up the cost. This is going to take decades to rebuild, not weeks, not years, decades. Mark my words. And they're going to be people who have lost everything and will never be able to return. They're going to have to move far away and lose all of their community, their families, and everything they spent so much time building here.
Yeah, that's right. If you
Oh my goodness. This is a disaster, ladies and gentlemen. Zero containment up until today. Still zero containment. About 5 people are dead. Okay, a lot of injured people. According to this man right here, he says California, Los Angeles don't have enough firefighters. Of course, we know that there's no water in the fire hydrant. There's no water in the fire hydrants. Like, what are we doing here? How can you have leaders in your cities, in your states, and you don't have water in your fire hydrants? What are you doing knowing fully well that California is a dry state? Los Angeles is a dry state, is a dry city. And here you have it, fire everywhere, wildfires, still no containment. Is this intentional? Because why would you let things burn this bad? This is absolutely bad. We're just starting the new year. This is the 9th day of the year, and this tragic situation is already befalling Los Angeles. This is sad to see. Gavin Newsom, who knows what he's up to? Who knows, man? Who knows? It's going to take decades to rebuild this. If you are in Los Angeles, California, I pray for you. May you find refuge. May God be your strength, because this is unreal. This is absolutely unreal. And I hope that God stays with you and your family. That's all I can say. And maybe do a little donation to Los Angeles. But I mean, what can you actually do? It's burning down. Dear Lord Jesus.
And welcome to your world. I'm Trace Gallagher. We are live in Malibu. This is lower Malibu. If you went down the Pacific Coast Highway here about a half a mile, that's Santa Monica. More importantly, right behind us in these mountains, that is where the Palisades fire is burning. That is Pacific Palisades. We're talking about 11,000 plus acres that have burned right now. The Associated Press now reporting that it is the most single destructive fire in the history of Los Angeles. You're talking about in this area some 60,000 people who have evacuated. You look over here, this was the Topanga Ranch Motel. It is now gone. On the other side of the Pacific Coast Highway is the ocean, and the homes on the other side, most of them up and down, are gone. And then you have the Eaton fire, which is in Pasadena, Altadena. It is also above 10,000 acres now. They've got at least hundreds of homes there, 1,000 homes in the Palisades destroyed, and other structures. And about 35 minutes ago, we took a drive up the road here and got deeper into Malibu to give you an idea of exactly how fast this fire is moving. Watch this. I want to give you an idea of how fast this fire was moving in the early hours. You see this hillside here, how it was burned all the way down. The winds were 70 plus miles per hour. This is the Pacific Coast Highway. Right now we are in southern Malibu, just north of Pacific Palisades, that was devastated. Let's just let these fire vehicles go across and we'll walk across the road. So the fire came down this hill and then it crossed over Pacific Coast Highway. You can see some of the power lines here. This pole was burned in half, and as you walk over here you can see the oceanfront homes here. This one is clearly still on fire. There's not a lot of water in this area, so as you go down the line there's not really a lot that fire crews can do to protect the rest of these homes. But if you come over here you can see the ocean and the oceanfront homes, multi-million-dollar oceanfront homes, and as far as the eye can see down here, it is home after home destroyed, burned to the ground. And this is Malibu, where the crux of the fire hasn't even gotten to yet.
We want to go for this soundbite because we were...
How can you have a city like Los Angeles, where one of the richest people in the United States, who pay one of the highest income taxes, matter of fact, taxes as a whole in California is one of the highest, if not the highest, in the United States. So we're here you are in California paying high taxes, yet you don't have fire. You don't have water in your fire hydrant. You have zero water in your fire hydrant. And then your governor, Gavin Newsom, what is he doing? And of course, the mayor of Los Angeles was in Ghana 2 days ago when the fire erupted. When the wildfire was going blazing, she was in Ghana. Now, I want you, look, there's a lot to cover here, okay? I want us to watch this first, and then we're going to go to that video of the mayor of Los Angeles talking about she had to come all the way, quickly take a military flight. Of course, what are you talking about? It is your responsibility to be responsible for your people in Los Angeles. You had no water in the fire hydrant. What is this? What are we doing? You're getting all this money in taxes and what are you doing? Green New Deal, DEI. What are you doing? Inclusiveness, diversity, equity. Is that what you're trying to do? We're talking about people are losing properties. Okay, Gavin Newsom yet did not sign the water restoration bill. There's a lot to talk about, okay? A lot of people are saying that Gavin Newsom is to blame for this fire. Maybe the mayor is to blame for this fire. However, this has been happening in Los Angeles, California as a whole for decades, okay? There's been fire since 1990s, okay? A lot of fire. However, this right here takes the crown in Los Angeles. What is going on? Uncontrolled, deadly wildfires still burning in Los Angeles County.
Asking what Governor Newsom and President Biden have had to say about this afternoon. They made an opening statement briefly at this weather center, but here is part of the sound from Governor Newsom and then a family announcement from President Biden. Watch.
Good news is, I'm a great grandfather as of today. Granddaughter. I'm a baby girl, a baby boy. So I remember this day.
All right, announcement of a great grandchild, and also that Hunter Biden's house appears to have been spared. More to come. That is the story for today.
Hunter Biden's house appeared to have been spared. All right, so this is a video of the legend, the OG, the 45th, now the 47th president-elect Donald J. Trump, talking about the water. No. This is Trump meets GOP Senator Hill. All right.
Structure ever built in the history of our country, relatively speaking, the most by far. We lost 38,000 people. They gave it to them for $1. And then they charge more.
Oh, this is the Panama Canal.
It's not going to happen. And China's running the Panama Canal. That's not going to happen either.
Mr. President, on California, Mr. President, during the
There he
pandemic, you
goes.
often said that you didn't believe that you should bail out blue states that you believe were being mismanaged. Given your criticism of Governor Gavin Newsom, are you willing to work with him, and do you believe that federal aid should be provided to California for as long as it takes?
Well, it's very sad because I've been trying to get Gavin Newsom to allow water to come. You'd have tremendous water up there. They send it out to the Pacific because they're trying to protect a tiny little fish, which is in other areas, by the way, called the smelt. And for the sake of a smelt, they have no water. They had no water in the fire hydrants today in Los Angeles. It was a terrible thing. And we're going to get that done. It's going to finally be done. I got it done from the federal side, and he didn't want to sign it, but it's not going to happen again like that. There's no reason. Can you imagine? You have farmers that don't have any water in California. They have plenty of water. They don't have a drought. They send it out to the Pacific, and it's crazy. So what's happening in California is a true tragedy. I know those areas very well. I have many friends living in those houses. That is a true tragedy. Nobody ever thought. I mean, virtually Beverly Hills and areas around Beverly Hills are being decimated. The biggest homes, some of the most valuable homes in the world are just destroyed. I don't even know. You know, you talk about a tax base. If those people leave, you're going to lose half your tax base of California. This is a true tragedy, and it's a mistake of the governor, and you could say the administration. They don't have any water. They didn't have water in the fire hydrants. They don't have water. And yet they have, the water comes from, you know where? Up north. And it comes down at levels, they give millions and millions of barrels of gallons of water that they have, and they send it out into the Pacific. For the Pacific, it's like a drop, it's nothing. But for California, it would take care of the whole state. So what's happened is a tragedy, and the governor has not done a good job. With that being said, I got along well with him when he was governor. We worked together very well, and we would work together. I guess it looks like we're going to be the one having to rebuild it. But what happened there, I don't think there's anything that I've ever seen quite like it. And the insurance companies are going to have a big problem, because you're talking about big, big dollars.
Exactly. It's like, how many people can you bail out? It's thousands of homes. How do you bail out everybody? The whole thing is burnt to the ground. How do you bail out everybody? Of course, insurance companies are gonna go bankrupt at this point. The government has to chime in. The government has to chime in, because at this point it's over. Los Angeles County is definitely a no-go zone at this point, because now everybody's going to be moving out of Los Angeles County. Because if you pay this much amount in taxes, high taxes, and yet you pay so much in taxes, you still don't have water in your fire hydrant. That is a disgrace. That is a disgrace. No matter what you're trying to prove, if you're trying to say you don't like Trump, you hate Trump, you don't like whatever he stands for, whatever you think this man has done that you don't like, this is a common sense individual that is telling you you need water in California. You need water in Los Angeles County. How bad can that sound? This person actually wants you to have a solution to your issues, to your problems that you have in your state and cities. And a lot of people are saying, well, Trump is the reason he's not going to work with Gavin Newsom. Oh, please, Biden, make sure you pass the bill so we can get enough money in California before Trump gets in, because if he gets in, he might not want to work with you. This is so sad. All right, I'll be right back.
I thought it was ridiculous that he did that, but we have more important things to talk about. Liz Cheney she lost in the Republican Party, as you know, in her state, by the biggest margin in the history of a politician running for Congress. She lost by like 42 points. Nobody's ever lost like that. So I don't care about Liz Cheney. I care about these people.
President Trump, billions of extra deportations. What does day one going to look like in the Trump administration?
Number one, we're closing the border. It's going to be closed very strongly, and it's going to be closed. And we're going to have to take people out that are criminals. We have people from jails from all over the world and from mental institutions. And as you know, they're going to have to be removed. And it's one of the reasons I won the election in a landslide. The people of this country don't want murderers walking down their farms or their streets or their cities. As you know, we had thousands of people that murdered other people that were in jail that were released into our country. Many of those people murdered more than one person, many of them, about 42% supposedly. We want them out of our country, and we're going to get a country back again, and we're going to be really governed by common sense. These are the principles of common sense. We're not going to be governed by stupid people. We're going to common sense. We're going to be respected all over the world again very soon.
A Fox News alert: devastating and apocalyptic scenes in California. Multiple raging wildfires scorching Los Angeles for well over 24 hours now, ravaging everything in their path, fueled by ferocious wind gusts up to 90 miles per hour. The raging blazes are so far 0% contained. 2 people have been killed. Jonathan Hunt is in Pacific Palisades, California. He's been there all day, and we appreciate your work and your update. If you could tell us what you see right now.
Sure, Dana, and the bad news for everybody here is that the homes continue to burn, one after another after another. Take a look at this one behind me. This was not burning when we started talking to Martha McCallum just 2 hours ago, but flames flicked over from another house that was burning, and within 2 hours, this entire structure, which is a large home, as you can tell, on a large footprint of land here, almost completely gone. The concern now, as Brian looks up here, is the home next to it. You can see some flames just licking at the corner of that fence there. And this is the problem here. We're getting these gusts of wind still, 30, 40, 50, 60 miles an hour. And they pick up embers from one of these fires, take it over there, and then that next house gets ablaze. The firefighters were here just a moment ago. They may have tamped down some of the area around the side of that, but they've now left. And then as we look back down here, you can see the neighborhood ahead of me, almost completely destroyed. House after house after house. And another, as Brian pans left slightly, another huge fire going on right there. And as we look up at the sky, you can see the smoke that this here, the sun has been trying to break through. And as I just look back down here ahead of us now, this fire looks a particularly intense one as we look towards it now. We're limited in how far we can go, both for safety and technical reasons, but that is a fierce one burning now. One more home that is destroyed. And Brian, just turn back to me here, Brian. Right behind me now, we've got another one that is... This is happening again and again, Dana. We are a long way from the end of what is already one of the worst wildfires in terms of destruction in California history. Dana?
Jonathan Hunt, please stay safe. Thank you so much. And as the Pacific Palisades wildfire becomes the most destructive in Los Angeles history, the city's mayor, she was out of the country while all of this was happening. Karen Bass is back in the United States now. She had gone to Africa to attend the inauguration of Ghana's president. Meanwhile, California Governor Gavin Newsom and President Biden are currently in the state getting briefed on the fast-spreading fires with officials. The president pledging he's prepared to do anything and everything as long as it takes to contain the fires. They took no questions, but Newsom was full of praise for Joe, and the president felt it was important to focus on this.
There's only one piece of good news. My son lives out here and his wife. They got a notification yesterday their home was probably burned to the ground. Today, it appears that it may be still standing. They're not sure. But the good news is I'm a great-grandfather as of today. I was granddaughter.
Mr. President, thank you for being here, but not just being here today. Thank you for being here since the minute of this incident, when there was a 10-acre fire less than 24 or so hours ago. Deep gratitude.
All right, more on that in a moment. Kennedy, let's start with you. You were somebody I thought of first thing.
Thank you for tuning into the live stream. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. So I have the pest control guy in my home. So they're trying to figure out what's going on with the roaches because I'm seeing some roaches. So I need the roaches gone. So we have pest control doing their thing. Anyway, so back to the show. Look, the mayor of Los Angeles was in Ghana. She was literally in Ghana attending the inauguration of a Ghanaian president. get it. You know, when you do your, I get it. Okay. Every brown skinned person wants to act like they're from, the motherland. I was born in Nigeria. Okay. I am an African American. She wasn't born in anywhere close to Africa. She was born here. She is an American. Okay. So you stay in your land and make sure you work things out. Okay. You work things out in your home. You were in Ghana when your city was on fire. Who does that? Who does that? Only the mayor of Los Angeles.
Last night when I saw these were happening, I know that you spent a lot of your life there, and you have a home there, and you had a particular exchange with Jonathan Hunt today.
I did, and it just goes to show you what a family Fox is. So I was up all night with my daughters, incredibly worried about our home, our friend's home. Our best friends live there. I've talked to 4 of my best friends. They've all lost their homes within a block or 2 of where we live. As Jonathan is showing you, it's a very fluid situation. I don't feel like any neighborhood is safe there right now. It's house by house. It's not even street by street. And Emily Campagno knew that I was very worried because I had a friend take some stuff out of the house, and there was so much that I left behind. And I left behind my grandfather's sword from World War I and some baby pictures that you see there. That's Nikki. That's Jonathan Hunt's producer.
Wow.
He was kind enough to drive by, and I asked him if he would go into the house and just grab a couple of things for me, and he was able to do that.
Wow.
And, the 90 seconds that they had. And our house may not remain. It's still a very unstable situation. I hope and pray that it does. I pray for everyone there. But the fact that he was able to get those family heirlooms means so much to me.
I can imagine. That was definitely something over and beyond.
Yes.
And that's great. Harold Ford Jr., your observations on this continuing situation.
I have, like Kennedy, a few friends and family that are there, and a dear friend who's lost his home and his family's home. The stories are obviously only going to likely multiply. I hope and pray not only for all of the first responders and those who have loved ones there, and obviously those who are affected. I'm heartened by the fact that the casualty level seems to be low. Don't get me wrong, the 2 people who have lost their lives, their families, our hearts and prayers go out to them. But the homes and the schools and the physical structures that have been lost, the impact this is going to have is just untold. I think Matt was saying at the outset, it's incalculable at this point, or just say the calculations are enormously high at this point. It's only going to get worse. I would imagine that some of the efforts to try to get water into these areas from various states or neighboring states is underway, and I'm hopeful and prayerful that the weather improves so that they can at least begin to do the aerial water drops in ways that can be more helpful. But this is just an awful, awful situation, and my prayers go out to everyone in that area.
Jesse Waters.
Yeah, we're all praying for everybody out there. We all know people and hope everything turns out for you, Kennedy, and your friends. That video we just saw is so symbolic. You have one political leader who's out of the country. You have another political leader who makes it about himself. And you have the other political leader who's just not doing his job. They've contained 0% of this fire, and it didn't need to be this way. This man cannot manage water or forests. Did you know they've had record rainfall and he hasn't built a single reservoir? Hasn't broken ground in a single reservoir. It rains in California and it just washes into the ocean. He is bragging about tearing dams down. He tore more dams down than anybody in the history of this country.
And that's another issue. This man was forced, like you heard Jesse said, tearing down dams. You're closing down dams when you know your cities, your states needs water. And now you're going to what? You're going to get money from Biden, of course, because that's what you do. There's fire all year round in California and you get paid to rebuild. But now you've seen something way bigger than you because this is still raging. The fire is still raging. It's not over yet. 0% containment. California is really on fire. This is wild. Los Angeles County is going to be the worst moving forward because it's going to take maybe a decade or more to build or rebuild. This is sad.
Because the Native Americans told him to do it, because it would save some salmon. Now look at this. A couple years ago, Donald Trump issued an order to send water from Northern California to Southern California, and Gavin Newsom sued Donald Trump to block it. Why? Because of smelt, Dana.
Yep.
It's the size of my pinky, this fish. It's supposedly...
So you're trying to save salmons and smelt, okay? Fresh fish water. You're trying to save the fish. I don't know what you're trying to do, okay? So you prefer your cities on fire over people saving themselves and their properties. So you want to save the fish instead of the people, instead of the valuable lives and valuable properties and valuable pets. You want to save the smelt and the salmon. So you what? You don't want to overwater them. You're trying to like bring down the water so they can have, because fresh fish water don't like too much water. Okay. So they like small amount of water so they can swim and live their life. But it's like, so what? What is this? You want to burn your state to the ground because of smelt and salmons? Oh, hell no. This man needs to resign. Gavin Newsom needs to resign, or something needs to happen, because this cannot keep going on every single year.
An endangered species. No one really knows what it's there for. No one really cares. And you know what just happened? There's no water coming out of the fire hydrant because this man mismanages the water there. And then it turns out last month, you know what? Biden and Newsom decided, we don't need to protect the smelt after all.
Yep.
The whole thing was worthless. And then you get to these forests. He hasn't built any of these roads that are used to escape. You basically have Pacific Palisades, and you guys know this. You're in a cocoon surrounded by state parks, and you're blocked by the ocean. There's one way in and there's one way out. It's a death trap. He hasn't built a single escape road. So these people are just going to cook. And he doesn't do any controlled burns. This whole time, barely does any of it. Has cut money for forests. They spend more money on homeless than they have on fires. And both of them are out of control. And then there's Karen Bass. She was invited to an inauguration for an African president and she left. Why is an American politician going to some other politician in another country's inauguration? That doesn't make any sense to me. You can say no sometimes. This whole thing is a disaster. It's criminal what's happening right there. And you pay so many damn taxes in that state. They should be able to serve the public.
You know this area.
Somebody needs to be held accountable. Somebody needs to be held accountable for this disaster in Los Angeles County. Okay? Zero containment, no water in the fire hydrant. So what are you doing? Why do you get so much taxes paid to California's whoever leaders? Why do you pay so much in taxes in California if you don't have water in your fire hydrants? If you're getting the firemen fired, if you're getting them out of their jobs because they don't have some sort of medications or whatever, this is a disaster, and somebody needs to be held accountable.
Well, you spent some time there.
Yeah, I lived there for a year, but I'm mainly a Northern California guy. Every place has something weird. California is like dating a supermodel. Beautiful to look at, but whoa. But Jesse, you were right that it's 0% contained, but CNN points out it's mostly contained.
Mostly contained.
I'm glad Joe became a great-grandfather. It's nice that he actually acknowledged the child.
And Joe Biden saying he just had a baby. Oh, I'm now a new grandfather. I just had a baby girl. What are you talking about? Everybody is running away from Los Angeles County because their homes are getting burnt. People are dying. People are moving out homeless right now. And you're saying, oh, well, by the way, I just became a great-granddaddy. Man, if you don't move your buddy out of here.
Good for him. I think it's actually worse than it looks. People are sending me videos of my buddies in LA and stuff, and it's insane. PCH, it looks like a Cormac McCarthy novel, you know, and I think, you know, if you have spare room or any space in your home, you might consider opening them up. Because I agree with Harold. I think this is going to get worse. There's going to be a lot of people with nowhere to go. They're not going to be celebrities either that can go stay at the Beverly, the Beverly Hilton.
Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills. What do I know? I stay at the Red Roof Inn. But it's I think you're going to have a lot of displacement. This looks like it's going to be, I don't know, months, years, billions and billions of dollars. Will people rebuild? Will they even have insurance to rebuild? I mean, it's a pretty, and I hate commenting on how this happened while it's happening. So I won't.
But we're going to have time to do that in the coming
Yes.
days. I know that we want to tease, but I just want to ask Kennedy one thing, because Jonathan said something this morning on a newsroom that has been with me. There's a lot of people in California are wealthy, yes, but a lot of people that live in these areas are not, and they've lost their homes too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of the people who moved to Pacific Palisades that, my girls have grown up with, they moved there because there are public schools where their kids are safe. And so they moved to the Palisades.
So I see somebody in the comments saying, well, Fox News, stop it. Where is your compassion? No. Where is your accountability? Where is your accountability? You have to take account. You have to be responsible for whatever is going on in your city. And Gavin Newsom and the mayor of Los Angeles needs to take responsibility for what's going on. Somebody has to take responsibility. What do you mean, where's your compassion? People are dying. Somebody has to take responsibility for this disaster. Okay, this isn't some sort of hurricane or tornado. This is a fire situation that the city and the state of California has had for years, and they could actually prevent it from happening if they only just allow water go into the state, go into the cities. Okay, Gavin Newsom definitely did not sign the water restoration bill, and he's closing dams in California. Is that even right? Your city is so dry, and yet you're stopping water from coming in, trying to save some smelt and salmon.
Into apartment complexes and condominium complexes, or they rent homes. A lot of people who live there inherited homes from grandparents, and they went to Palisades High School, and it's very family and community oriented. And not everyone there. The majority of the people that we knew, the parents in public school, they were hardworking families who were sacrificing everything to send their kids to schools when they couldn't afford private schools. And those are the kind of people that got dropped by companies like State Farm, who just dropped a ton of people in this area who, thought they might get around to getting fire insurance. And now they've lost everything. I have a good friend who's a single mom, and she doesn't know if her home is standing. A neighbor across the street lost his home. He called her today and said, I don't think your home is still there. That's literally all she has. She's a photographer. She left her home with her cameras and some baby pictures, and that's all she's got now. So,
and all those schools in Palisades have burned down.
Yes, Village School, the high.
Okay, so people are just so annoying, okay? So you mean all of this happens in Los Angeles and nobody is to be blamed, all right? Nobody's to be blamed. Everything is Gucci, okay? Why wouldn't you? Okay, even if you say you don't want to blame anybody, I get it. Okay, we don't want to blame anybody. This is a disaster. Why is there no water in the fire hydrant? Can somebody tell me that in the chat? You that say, this is just a disaster. Come on, y'all, stop being like that. Put it in the chat. Why is there no water in the fire hydrant? No water in the fire hydrant? Okay, yeah.
School. This is one of the biggest natural disasters I certainly have been a part of in terms of the coverage, and we are praying for everybody. We'll have more to come as California battles these raging wildfires and disturbing reports that water is starting to run out.
He makes a good point when he talks about the winds up there. Jonathan is up on the hills above us, and when he talks about the winds up there, those winds come down here. We're still getting gusts of 60, 65 miles per hour. Overnight in this area, they were getting wind gusts up to 98 miles per hour.
Blaming doesn't bring water into the city, doesn't extinguish the fire. But you know what blaming does? Blaming creates accountability. And when you take account for your failure, which is Gavin Newsom at this point and the Los Angeles uh, mayor, somebody needs to take their post, okay? Somebody who is capable, who can take precautions for this wildfire. This wildfire has been going on for years. You have Silicon Valley, the smartest, brightest brain in the whole world in Silicon Valley. These guys can figure out a way to mitigate all of this fire from burning down the whole city. And if you don't stop to think and realize that we need to find a solution to this disaster, this is what you get. Because they know the government is always going to bail us out. The government will bail us out. Of course, Joe Biden will bail them out because this is another thing. Joe Biden just approved another $500 million to Ukraine, his final aid to Ukraine. Of course, I mean, look at the administration that we are living our lives under. $500 million to Ukraine. This was yesterday. $500 million to Ukraine. So things are burning down in California, yet this man is sending $500 million to Ukraine, and now they're going to send billions to California for sure. The whole administration is just total BS.
Which is really what kind of pushed these flames across, and there was just no way to fight it. On that note, let's bring in the sheriff of Los Angeles County, Robert Luna. Sheriff Luna, thank you so much for coming on with us. We appreciate it. It looks like Pacific Palisades is just devastated. The first question is, how does the Sheriff's Department, how do you protect the city of Palisades, the town of Palisades, while people are out of their homes?
It is absolutely our responsibility to be there for our community, to be there to evacuate, making sure people are safe and they're not seriously injured or killed. Two, is to secure that location. Unfortunately, at times we have individuals that will take advantage of the unfortunate circumstances and go in and try and steal things. So we're making sure that we have adequate staffing, not only at the fire that you're at reporting from, but the other fires that are impacting our county. And I've got to say, I'm very proud of our employees. For the last 48 hours, they've been out there in the conditions that your viewers are seeing you in, and you're doing a heck of a job reporting the chaos. And it gets worse at night when you can't see. So very difficult conditions, but you know what? This is our community. I can report to you that I've talked to several of our employees today that have lost homes. Both in that area and the other fire, the large fire we have going on in the county. So we're feeling this, even here at home.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Sheriff, because you talk about these couple of fires. There was a third fire, the Sylmar fire. It exploded to about 500 acres. That was kind of northeast of the Eaton fire in the Pasadena-Altadena area. But it really is the focus now on the Palisades fire and the Eaton fire. And the Eaton fire, hundreds of homes there also destroyed. Are you worried about your resources? We know we are very lean on resources with firefighters in California. What about the Sheriff's Department? Are you also lean on resources, Sheriff?
Yeah, all of us have staffing challenges, but we got to step up to the plate. And under circumstances like this, we're calling people in. We have additional people that will be working. A lot of our normal responsibilities will stay on the shelf. I mean, we're still responding to calls for service throughout the county, but our priority, make no doubt about it, is working with our partners in Unified Command, both at the fire you're reporting from and the Eaton fire. And I've got to tell you, regarding the Eaton fire, I've heard miraculous stories this morning of our deputy sheriffs going out firsthand and saving lives. We did lose one black and white. Yep. Thank God our deputy was okay. But we have multiple stories literally saving lives for the last 48 hours, both in the Palisades fire and then also the other fire in Altadena.
Yeah, I mean, it really does, Sheriff. As you're talking, we're getting these winds behind us. These are very powerful winds. These fires, still no containment on these things. Sheriff, are you hearing any word on how these fires might have started?
No, it would all be speculation. They're both under investigation, but I can assure you we're going to try and get to the source of what started this. And by the way,
yeah,
as you're talking
Sheriff,
about the high winds.
Go ahead, Sheriff.
I'm sorry. I would just, you were mentioning about the high winds. And for those folks out there that are not familiar, and I'm not a firefighter, but it's been made very clear by our chief, our fire chief, that they're having a difficult time. It's almost impossible to get aircraft up in the air. And that's a very effective mechanism for fighting these fires. And that is not due.
And to think that in North Carolina and some part of South Carolina, they still need help. Okay, from Hurricane Helen, they still need help. So if these guys are still needing help in North Carolina and South Carolina, now you have California. Oh my goodness. The Biden administration has a lot to be, I guess, shameful of, because this is just wild. This is just too wild. And some people are going to say, well, what do you mean? Those are natural disasters. The administration is a disaster. That's what it means.
Doable in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, and really, even, Sheriff, if they could get these airplanes up in the air and some of these fire retardant planes, it would be kind of a shot in the dark because, as you know, when they dump the retardant with these winds so high, it's just unknown where the retardant would push to. So it's really kind of a fruitless effort. Do you see FEMA and others bringing more resources in here, Sheriff, to help? Have you and your office called out for more resources around the state? What's the process?
So for us in the county, I am responsible for mutual aid. I'm the mutual aid coordinator for this region here, Los Angeles County and the adjoining counties. I immediately was receiving calls from the Office of Emergency Services from the state offering any resources that they could. I know our fire department has been asking for them, and they're starting to receive those. From a law enforcement perspective, they're asking us. Right now, we are doing okay, but we understand this isn't going to be over tonight or tomorrow. So we're preparing for the worst, or planning for the worst, I should say, as we move on. But any resource that we're asking for, either through the state or the federal government, they're willing to give it to us, and we're extremely grateful for that level of collaboration and partnership.
Los Angeles County Sheriff Robert Luna. Sheriff, thank you for spending your time with us. We appreciate your analysis. We appreciate your comments.
Meanwhile, let's bring in Rick Caruso. Caruso, founder and executive chairman who ran against Karen Bass for mayor of L.A. 2 years ago. Thank you, sir, for joining us. You caught our attention this morning with your analysis of the situation, saying this looks more like a third world country.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. It does look like a third world country. The devastation up in the Palisades area is so widespread. Most of the downtown is completely gone. One of my developments up there was damaged. It's still standing, which we're very grateful for, but we're not sure what's going to happen because there's still fires around it. But most of the downtown is gone. Whole sections of neighborhoods are gone, as I heard on your report, schools, churches. What's amazing to me is how widespread a devastation this could have happened in a relatively short period of time. One of the things you reported was the lack of water and fire hydrants. I think there's a lot of tough questions that need to be asked on how it happened. Was the city adequately prepared? Knew the high winds were coming in? And to your point, I think John raised, the brush clearance in this area has not happened for decades. So although it started in a neighborhood, it quickly moved into the brush in the hills that are controlled by the city, the county, and the state. And it provided an enormous amount of fuel and just took off. And we really need to hold leadership responsible. Ask what they did and find out what they did wrong and help people.
Exactly. It's like if you cannot hold the leadership of your cities, of your states accountable, then who are you going to hold accountable for stuff like this? Who are you going to hold accountable? You have to hold leaders accountable. And this is why most states, most cities in the United States are not even developing. They're not developing at the rate they're supposed to develop at. It's like you want to say, well, who are you supposed to hold accountable? You hold your leaders accountable. It's like in the household. When bills are not being paid, who do you hold accountable? The father or the head of the household at this point. At this point. I mean, this generation, we don't even know if it's the man or the woman because at this point, man, everybody, man, this man being women, women being men, I don't get it. But you get what I mean. Like, if you are in a household when your family is hungry, in my household, for example, if my daughter is hungry, it's up to me. I have to make sure everybody's good. I have to make sure the bills are being paid on time. It's responsibility. You take responsibility for your actions. You have to be responsible for the things that you bring into this world and for the things that you attract and for the things that you create. So, with that being said, for this situation up here, you have to blame the leaders. Okay? Blame the leaders, y'all.
Accountable.
In the meantime, this is survival mode, Rick.
Oh, it absolutely is. And, you know, you're talking about $10 million homes and $30 million homes. Just to be clear, the majority of the businesses in the Palisades are independent small businesses. There is a far majority of homes in the Palisades that people have lived in for 30 or 40 years. It's not all wealthy people. And these are people that are going to be wiped out. There's businesses that are going to be wiped out. And this is what really saddens and angers me and frustrates me, is that the city has a sacred duty and obligation to protect people's lives and livelihood. And when you don't have water in a fire hydrant, you've got to ask some real tough questions on how the hell this could happen in a major city, the second largest city in the country.
Can you imagine no water in the fire hydrant? How is that even possible? As huge as California is, as wealthy as California is, you have no water in the fire hydrant. And then people are going to say Trump is the issue. If you go in the chat, they're going to say, well, what did Trump do? Like Trump
Jonathan Hunt is standing by to report live for us. And Jonathan, I just want to point out a couple of things. You're in Malibu, and where you are in Pacific Palisades and Malibu, has come up in this reporting, and that is that 2 what they call civilian deaths have been reported. Those are people we would think who were not first responders. A high, significant list of injuries among people who did not evacuate. I've been hearing you say this from the beginning. You have to get out.
Yeah, it's been extraordinary to watch people trying to get out of here over the last 24 hours, but in some cases it's just been impossible. And I just want to show you what is happening here right now. This is in the heart of the Pacific Palisades, a densely packed neighborhood. We have been here now, Harris, for about an hour and a half in this particular location. Up to Brian's right, this house was on fire when we first got here, just beginning to burn. Then one of its walls fell into this one in the front yard where we're standing right now. That was literally about 45 minutes ago. This was a 2-story house. This is what is left of it. Now the embers have spread to the one next door. Left of that again, and you can see that one is on its way towards burning to the ground. The ferocity of the flames, I can tell you that Brian Ullman, our cameraman, and I have been feeling here has been so intense. We've literally had to back off on several occasions. But as we come back out to the street here, Harris, I want to show you this street. This is a street. And remember, Pacific Palisades is not some far-flung suburb that we often travel to for these fires, 30, 40 miles outside of LA in the hinterlands. This is in the heart of Los Angeles. And this is the street. As far as we can see, every single home on this street gone. And you look up to the skies as well. It's an apocalyptic scene here today. This is 8:37 in the morning now. You can see a tiny patch of blue sky, the rest of it covered by gray smoke. Harris, I've been covering fires in California, wildfires, for many, many years, and I can honestly tell you, Harris, I have never seen anything like this. We're so used to them being in less densely populated areas, but this one started in the hills just above the Pacific Palisades and just roared down into this neighborhood. And you saw probably, Harris, those, as we walk back towards this building burning, you saw probably those now iconic pictures of the people trying to get out of a neighborhood called Pacific Highlands. There's one road in, one road out to that particular neighborhood. People were trying to get out, including friends of my daughter who attend Palisades Charter High School here. They could not get out. People abandoned their cars. It blocked the streets. They were told by firefighters, there is nothing we can do right now. We need you to go back to your home. So this family, and many like them, simply had to go back to their home and wait there, hoping and praying that these heroic firefighters could keep the flames from their front door, when at times they were just a matter of yards from those front doors. Absolutely terrifying for everybody. Now, fortunately, obviously here, all of these buildings have been evacuated. People have got out. But as you can see, there is such a long way to go. There is not...
And yet, some people in the chat are still saying, do not hold the leaders accountable. Really, we should not hold Gavin Newsom accountable. We should not hold the mayor of Los Angeles accountable. Really? No accountability for real?
Even the facility right now for firefighters to protect these properties, they're just having to let them burn. It is still at this point a question of saving lives, Harris. This is going to go on for a long time, Harris.
So I don't want to miss this, because I heard you earlier saying that your child was ready to graduate high school from a school that you've been watching to see if it's been destroyed today. Just hearing the mention of 10% of total schools in the areas that are burning across.
I still see people talking about climate change. Oh, it's climate change. Oh, that's why LA is burning right now. It is climate change. For real? We're going to blame the climate? If anything, Los Angeles is one, California as a state is one of the states that takes this Green New Deal to the next level. They have windmill all over California. They take this Green New Deal to the next level. And that's why this whole situation is literally going on. Because they're preventing the water from coming into California. And Trump has said this multiple times. I can literally bring water into California. Just give me the right to. But now he's going to have to force it and shove it down Gavin Newsom's throat. Because if he doesn't sign the water restoration bill, there's no way he's going to get money. Because Trump is coming in 11 days. And it's up from there, man. Adults are back in the White House. A commander-in-chief who actually puts the people first is coming back.
LA County and now Riverside County, too, with the Tyler fire that's popped up. 10% of total schools shut down. They made that decision late last night. They will wait until 4 p.m. later today, their time in California, to decide if they'll keep the schools closed. This is affecting so many more people outside those fire zones because of the bad air quality. Jonathan,
somebody says, what does the Green New Deal have to do with climate change? Bro, there would be no Green New Deal if there wasn't anything like climate change. The whole climate change is what brought about Green New Deal. Jesus. I mean, don't you know that?
I'm going to give you a chance to literally go someplace where you can catch your breath. And God bless you out there. Stay safe. I see some things flying around. I pray for all of our reporters, all the first responders, everybody out there showing us the story and fighting for lives out there. Jonathan, thank you. Kenichi Haskett is the Los Angeles County Fire Department Section Chief. And you want to talk about a group of people who are on the job. I got to tell you, Chief, when the Los Angeles County Fire Chief, Maroney, spoke just moments ago, he said that you all are on the job until you have 100% containment, and you have 0 now. God bless you. What does this look like up close?
This morning when I was driving in again last night and patrolling, we're seeing winds last night over 100 miles an hour. those amber casts that you see from your footage right now that's showing, those will cast ambers over 3 or 4 football fields. So multiple structures, as Fire Chief Maroney mentioned, probably well over 1,000 structures unfortunately destroyed. But our top priority right now, despite the weather, despite the wind, is to make sure everyone gets out safely. So we need people to please adhere to the evacuation orders. If you don't feel safe, leave. If you're in a warning, you can leave. Right now, we're really focused on a life threat, which pivots our resources to saving people first. And that's why we don't have the resources able to help protect structures. So, but our priority is to save lives.
Chief Haskett, talk to me about those people who really couldn't get out. I mean, you have people who physically cannot walk. They are inside their homes with all sorts of health situations going on. I mean, that's the human condition for all of us across the world. So you have those people in communities. Some of them could not get out. And I don't know if you could hear our reporter, Jonathan Hunt, maybe not. But he was saying that some people tried to get out and it was too late for them. So they were told to go back to their homes. So many people heeded the warnings, but you can't always get everybody out. What happens to those people?
We send firefighters in there to.
This right here is the definition of your money cannot save you. Look at Tesla on the street. Look at the trucks. Look at everything on the street. People left their cars and they fled. They ran because your money in this point is useless. You cannot save yourself from a burning city. A burning city, you cannot save yourself. You cannot stop the fire from burning your home because, I mean, you don't even have water in the fire hydrant. You pay so much in taxes and yet no water in the fire hydrant. My heart goes to everybody who has lost their properties. Some people have lost their loved ones, and this is facts. About 5 people have now been confirmed dead by Los Angeles Police Department. And this is just too sad to see that on the 9th day of a new year, this is what is going on. And it's still going on. And there's no foresight of when this is going to be solved.
To evacuate them, we'll load them on our engines, we'll load them on our patrols, or we'll load on our ambulances. So we will go in there to save people.
Talk to me, if you can, about what can be done from the air. With those winds, I'm not imagining you're putting up a lot of choppers with the possibility with retardant and all of that.
The fixed wing and the rotary wing, the helicopters all have been grounded. They wanted to fly first flight this morning, but we grounded everything at 7:30 p.m. last night. And the winds, they were seeing gusts up to 100 miles an hour. And this morning I was seeing gusts as I was driving in on the fire line over 60 miles an hour.
I know when I was talking about how you stay on the job until this is 100% contained, what does the timeline look like in terms of what you're seeing burn now? More than 5,000 acres at last check, and it's building so quickly.
We're still in the
Exactly. I just saw a very sensible comment in the comment section saying, why didn't they rake the forest? Remember Trump said this during Joe Rogan's interview? He said, they don't even rake their forest. They don't take care of their forest. So what do you expect? California is a no man's land. They don't take anything with common sense. Okay. It's a lot of DEI in California. It's a lot of, LMQGT plus. But it is what it is. Okay, everybody, you could be whoever you want, whatever you want. However, it's like, I'm not saying those agencies or those ideas are what caused the, fire situation or the wildfire. Because wildfires have been going on for years, for decades in California. However, it's like, can you figure out how to stop and prevent wildfires? I mean, if you say, how do we stop earthquakes? Okay, I say, okay, that's a hard situation. How do we stop tornadoes? Okay, that's hard. But how do you stop wildfires on a dry land? Because you don't have water. Get some water in your states, in your cities. Let there be water every single place in your city. Can you get some water? You have no water in your fire hydrants? Oh my God.
Initial attack, as you see fire actively burning structures, I'd imagine for the recovery phase, this is going to go on for weeks.
To even get full containment?
100% containment, probably at least a week, if not more.
Wow, that's a long time. I appreciate you. Thank you so very much. I know that sometimes you and your teams across America will say, don't call us heroes, but you are, and you're a blessing. Stay safe.
Stay safe, everybody. If you're in California, if you're in Los Angeles County, stay safe. Somebody in the comment section just
Dr.
said, "What does
Zachary
DEI?
Levi's.
What does DEI have to do with this situation?" Also, a lot. It's a lot. For example, DEI, as you know, is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Right now, your inclusive mayor in Los Angeles was in Ghana. Okay. She was in Ghana when her city was burning down. So that right there, already, she needs not to be she needs to step down as the mayor of Los Angeles. Because why are you in Ghana in the first place? You are not allowed to be going to goddamn Ghana when you have fire going on. Well, she's gonna say, well, there wasn't fire when I went to Ghana. You need to be there solving situations in Los Angeles County, because I know there's a lot in Los Angeles County before the fire, but yet you went to Ghana. That right there is and that's a problem.
Said Newsom is not doing his job, and he joins me now. All right, Zach, what's going on out there?
Hey, how you doing there? Listen, I wish I could explain it. I think the first thing I wanted to say, though, most importantly, is I think we should be holding every single person in Southern California, everybody affected by these fires, we should be holding them up in prayer.
Okay, Shazam. Yeah, go Shazam. Let's listen to Shazam, everybody.
Sending as much love and light and support as we can to everybody who's being affected right now. This is the most devastating fire in Los Angeles history. My family's from Ventura, California. I grew up there most of my life, and then I was in LA for 15 years. This is very personal. The Thomas Fire ravaged Ventura in 2017, and it was so gnarly, and they're still picking up the pieces from that fire. And so this is it's catastrophic. It's looking at the news. I'm in Austin, Texas, and I'm watching the news. It looks like I'm watching a post-apocalyptic war film. It's so sad. And ultimately, why we've ended up in this place, I mean, I've been hearing you on your show leading into the segment. I mean, I think you're hitting a lot of it on the head. This is just incredible mismanagement, incredibly poor leadership. I would go so far as to say that it's criminally negligent.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, Gavin Newsom has been either the governor for 5 years or lieutenant governor prior to that for 8-9 years. Some of the worst fires we've ever had in California under that watch. He clearly knows that the biggest problem that we suffer in California are these fires, and by the way, the mudslides that follow. And for them to do essentially not just nothing, but worse than nothing, when firefighter budgets are being cut, when they are specifically intentionally not doing the work that could be done to avoid these problems or to be able to effectively serve them when they are happening, we are losing, I mean, I think it's something like millions of acres of feet of water runoff from rain and snow every year in California. As you pointed out, I think the smelt have something to do with that. That's an acre foot of water, by the way, is about 330,000 gallons of water. And there's millions of those that are just rolling off into the ocean when they could be captured in cisterns. We'd have an ecosystem of hoses and safety measures that can keep all of these homes and people in these homes safe. And for some reason, they choose to do none of that. And
because they care about the fishes, the salmons, and the smelt more than the valuable lives, okay? They care about the smelt and the salmons more than they care about people, properties, pets, like actual human beings. No, they refuse to capture the water. And this is what Trump has been talking about for years. But Trump is a bad person. Man, don't talk. Man, there's nobody that could tell me to listen to that man. That man is a racist. He's a this, is a that. Well, there you go.
At some point, it goes beyond just whoopsie. At some point, it goes beyond negligence. There's something that's almost criminally intentional about this. Like, what are they doing? I don't know.
So you mentioned criminal intent and you mentioned criminal negligence. Because California can build anything. I mean, look at Silicon Valley, look at Hollywood. If they want to do something, California can do it. But you haven't built a single reservoir in 10 years? You're just letting water run into the Pacific? Because of what? A fish that no one's heard of? Does anybody care about the smelt fish?
Nobody cares. Yeah, nobody cares.
I mean, listen, I think that both can be true. I think we can care about the smelt fish and we can care about our environment and also be able to value human life and the wonderful cities and civilizations that we have built and find some kind of a balance in all of that. Even still, with the smelt, there's no reason why we couldn't have safeguards to prevent what is going on.
Thank you for tuning into the live stream. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. And if you're just tuning in like Chris talking about the mayor out of town should be back immediately. She's already back, except she's back to shambles. Okay, she's back to a burnt down city.
On right now, this is just it's absurd. But I would say at the end of the day, you know, like I said, I don't know if there's criminal intent. I have no idea why they are doing or not doing the things that they are doing, but they must be held responsible. This is not good leadership. I mean, listen, you know, this is the man who, in the middle of the pandemic, when people were being locked up for going and gathering together, he was at French Laundry having dinner with his friends. What does that say about the character of this man who is doing nothing to help the people of California? I don't believe that he is. I don't believe that he is. And so
Oh, Shazam. He is about to get blackballed in Hollywood. This is for sure. I'm sorry, Zachary Levy, you will be blackballed in Hollywood. Coming out here talking like this about Gavin Newsom. Man, you better know Shazam is not going to be filmed. Or maybe it will, because of course the legend is back. The OG is back. The 45th, now the 47th president-elect is back. So maybe, I mean, Shazam, there's free speech, because free speech is back, okay? Yeah, in case you forgot. Free speech is back because even Mark Zuckerberg said, we're going back to community notes. Matter of fact, there was no community notes on Facebook. Now they're saying they want to start community notes instead of what was it? Fact checking. Okay. Instead of fact checking, now they're gonna do community notes. So, but Zachary, maybe, just maybe, you get another role, because this right here, you're pointing out, you're hitting the nail on the head, and you're calling out the BS that Gavin Newsom has been doing in California. Shout out to you, Zachary.
I think that there needs to be some kind of accountability that's held to the leadership, not just of California, but also of our nation. You know, I mean, listen, there are people still in eastern North Carolina that are still climbing out of the rubble of the hurricane that totally ravaged all of them in Florida and North Carolina and South Carolina. That's still happening, and FEMA completely dropping the ball there. What's going to happen now with Southern California? Is FEMA going to be there? By the way, one of the things that is almost most criminal in all of this, I don't know if you know this, but like 70% or so of the insured in Southern California that used to have fire insurance in their home months ago, this insurance was taken away. The insurance company said, no, we're not going to offer fire insurance anymore. What else? Do they need? They don't need flood insurance. They need fire insurance. This is a fire hazard. Of course, that's the insurance that they need and that they want. And just months ago, this was stripped from people. Like, this is not okay. It is not okay in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I'm hearing that State Farm yanked their coverage because the regulators in California wouldn't let them raise rates. So now millions of people don't have fire insurance, and they've lost their homes and have nothing. And you're right. You mentioned North Carolina. Remember the Maui fires? Still devastation.
Yeah, Lahaina.
And they were staying in 5-star luxury resorts, FEMA was. So we expect more, we expect better, we expect dignity and competence in the United States of America. That's not too much to ask. I know there's been a recall in California, but there might have to be something else to hold Gavin Newsom accountable. A trial, a public humiliation, because if this isn't enough to step down as governor, if you have a little honor, I think that's what it calls for. Zach, great talking to you.
Listen, man, you as well.
Appreciate it. I hope you and your family are.
Well, there you have it. Common sense is still common in some part of California, like you heard. Someone with some sense over there. But this is just too sad to see that this is going on in California. This is supposed to be one of the most beautiful city and states in the United States. Yet, this is what they get.
We'll go out to William Lajeunesse, who is live there in Malibu. William?
Look at that. That's worse.
Well, Ainsley, it is a nightmare situation for Southern California and LA County. This is supposed to be the wet season, right? We have no rain. Of course, we have challenging topography also in these dense areas like the Palisades. And then, of course, the winds that you're seeing right here picking up. They're probably around 50 miles an hour down here at the coast where I'm at, and around 90 mile an hour in the foothills in the mountains. I'm going to step aside right now. Keith can show you one of those residences that I showed you this morning. It's obviously totally engulfed in flames, and you can see how this is a wind-driven fire. They're trying to stop it from going to the next home, which is right next door. We have seen roughly about 10 to 12 homes go up this morning since we've been here. And these are really close together. You can't see it, but the ocean is literally on the other side of that house. We're right on Coast Highway in about the middle of Malibu, which is 27 miles long. We have, as you mentioned, about 3 major fires burning in 5 areas around Southern California. It began yesterday in a residential area in the Palisades, Pacific Palisades neighborhood, and then with staggering speed with these winds, it just kicked going over several different fire breaks, Topanga Canyon, and to the south, also into Santa Monica. We have some sound here from a woman in the Palisades who witnessed what happened.
After being born and raised in the Palisades, having seen numerous evacuations, having been through earthquakes, fires, whatever you can say, we've been through it all. This was something I was never expecting.
And up and down Coast Highway, a lot of power lines and posts are down. In fact, Keith is shooting one right now. You can see the fire has already destroyed the cell tower there as well as the street lamps. And over time, that thing's going to come down along with some of the others that I've witnessed here this morning. The scene you're seeing here is not unique by any means. Up and down Coast Highway on both sides, the ocean side, the windward side. And you can see right now the wind is just so unpredictable. Sometimes it's coming out of the north, sometimes it's coming off the ocean, and it's creating its own wind, really, which is challenging for firefighters. This area right now is burning several houses here along Coast Highway. Send it back to you.
So, William, I got a question for you. You know, you've been covering these fires for decades out there. So as we look at this fire there on Pacific Coast Highway in Malibu, and we saw the crew spraying some water toward it, are they spraying it on the fire that's the house that is engulfed or on the house next door? Because historically, you know, you try to spray the roof so that the embers don't come over. That's a losing proposition there. I mean, if that house is on fire next to my house is next.
And it is, and it has moved, like I said, about 9 to 12 homes in a row, bang, bang, bang. And that one they tried to save when we started it, you know, together this morning at 6 o'clock your time. That house was fine, and so was the one next to it. But literally, let me put my goggles back on. They're trying to cool it down. The next one, house over, parts of this power line.
Oh my God.
So it's very hard to, and there's no structural protection, right? With winds like this, as you guys see, it doesn't matter how much water you put on that fire. No. The next home is going to burn, and the one after. They're only about 1 foot or 2 feet apart. Ainsley?
William, will you ask your cameraman to show our audience, you did this during your last live shot, all the homes. You said there are about 12 homes. Throughout the course of this morning, we've watched 3 go down. But if he pans over to the left, you can see all the homes that used to stand
Keith,
on
I want
the beach.
You to pan. Yeah, so Keith, I'm going to have you pan slowly to your left, and people are going to be able to see what you see, the remnants, the flames. Those were all homes. And as you drive down PCH, you couldn't even see the water because they were home after home after home. Now they are all gone. And as he's going to pan all the way over to those lights far down there, those were all homes, you guys. They're gone. And I got here, I don't even know what time, but probably about 4 hours ago. And I don't say half of them were standing, but there's about 6 of them have been gone this morning. And this situation is not unique. As up and down PCH, these homes along the beach, which are remarkably cool out on the deck and so forth, overlooking the ocean. Sometimes it goes underneath. I used to run my dog along this beach, and they're destroyed. And we're talking expensive homes, probably here along the coast, about $10 million each.
Holy cow.
Yeah, William, has there been any improvement in the wind? Because I know that is preventing the aircrafts from getting up there to put some of that water down on it.
No, Lawrence, the winds have actually, they're very spotty, They're worse now than they were an hour ago, but it could go calm. So they're very speculative, and they come and go, and sometimes they're off the water, and sometimes they're off the windward side, or the...
Ladies and gentlemen, after this video, I want to show you guys the after effect of all of this fire. So you can see it's like a drone shot of the Palisades. Okay, so the Palisade neighborhood in Los Angeles. I want to show you guys, but after this video, I want you guys to stay tuned, okay?
Offshore breezes, but when the firefighters, you could see, they've pulled out. I mean, they pulled out. They're trying to cool down the next residence, but there's no direct water on that flame at all because it's gone.
Yeah. So William, in Florida, when a hurricane hits, they know what to do. The people get instructions, but they know how to handle it. Same thing with fires in California.
There goes the power
that
line.
house is
There
about
it
to
goes.
go.
Oh my goodness, be careful.
It is.
Okay, yeah. Well, at least it went that direction and not this one. Yeah, there's power poles down, up and down PCH because this situation, what can you do? And you can imagine how long it's going to take for us to get power. There's 200,000 people in Southern California without power. Our power was knocked out yesterday morning just as a precaution because these high winds, obviously you're going to get more ignition sources.
So the wood pole just broke in half?
And it fell toward the water because had it fallen the other way, that would have, you were right there, right?
Well, yeah, we were. I think we're far enough away. It would have been scary, but no, we're purposely on the other side of the road. But yeah, these power lines are down all along PCH. So
William,
I showed you that there were.
Do you need
Go
to
ahead.
leave? Are you safe?
It's raging right now.
Yeah, we're okay. We're okay. We can move the other direction if we needed to.
Right. So William, just a quick thing to finish my question. Where do these people go? They can't go to Santa Monica, right? So are they just heading north?
Well, they can go over the hill to Agora and to Calabasas, Woodland Hills, Thousand Oaks, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But PCH is closed from the tunnel, McClure Tunnel, coming off the 10, all the way to, our first stop this morning was right around Pepperdine.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they probably moved that to the north because I've got to imagine so many more people are going to wake up this morning and find themselves under a mandatory evacuation because this thing is moving so fast. I got to tell you, when I got up this morning and was looking at coverage, it was all out in Pasadena and Altadena, and there was nothing in Malibu. There was no crews up here. And as I came south, I fully expected to make it to the Palisades. I didn't get halfway there because I started situations like this.
Is that where you live? You live up there, around there?
Yeah, I live up near Zuma. So I come into West LA, it's about 26 miles, but Pepperdine is probably about 10 miles south of me. And, the fire had almost reached Cost Creek, but it was a situation like you see here, fire on the ocean side and fire on the retail on the land side, if you will. Not quite to the town center, if you will, but definitely.
What was that?
What was that? I was going to say probably a propane tank.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness.
But I've watched these, I went through the Woolsey fire in my own neighborhood, and you'd go in afterwards, and the gas would still be going. It sounded.
Or there you have it. There you have it. It's a lot. It's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in Los Angeles. Man, this is sad. This is sad to see. Hopefully, they get some sort of containment in Los Angeles. County. All right, let me show you the after effect of the fire. Somebody said, let God sort it out. Let God sort it out. Amen. Because this is sad to see. All right. Somebody said, move the camera. We want to see William. All right. Here you have it. This is the aftermath. This is the aftermath, ladies and gentlemen. Burnt to the ground. This is Palisades area, ladies and gentlemen. To the grounds. Look at that. This is sad, ladies and gentlemen. This is absolutely sad. This is the Los Angeles we all know and love. Look at this. Too sad. This is too sad, ladies and gentlemen. How can it be burnt to the ground? How is this even possible? Oh my Lord. This seems like this. Oh God. Man, this is too sad, ladies and gentlemen. This is Los Angeles. Somebody in the comment section is saying, is this Los Angeles or Gaza? This is LA.
I want to check in with two folks, Tanner Charles and Orly Israel. Orly has a house in the Palisades. There's some video of, I believe it showed, I haven't seen it myself, of Orly just trying to do what he can to save the house, to water things down. Let's take a look and then we'll talk to them.
Bro, I don't. Oh. All right, dude. Yeah, let's get out of here. We tried, bro. I'm sorry. We tried our best. Yeah, and when this tree falls, it's over. I'm sorry, bro.
Oh my God.
Did that tree fall with it? No. Just let it burn, and God protect this house in the name of Jesus. Protect this neighborhood, God, in Jesus' name I pray, amen. This tree is gonna kill us. There's nothing we can do now, bro. Nothing we can do now.
Well, Orly and Tanner joining us now. How are you? How are you guys doing? I'm so sorry we're talking under these circumstances.
You know, every time I watch this video, I gotta watch myself running away from the battle of a lifetime you know, the sound of these fire alarms going off everywhere in the house every time this video plays is just crazy. And then we fought the fire until we, you know, my eyes are burnt, my face is burnt. We gave it our all, and also we stayed there way longer than anyone should have and still lost. So, you know, I feel like we fought a losing battle, but we fought it, and I'm glad we made it out alive.
Were you able to get things out? I mean, things that were important to you?
Only the most important things. Yeah, this was a great experience, and going like, I guess I don't need those suit jackets, you know, those basketballs or signed shoes. We got what we needed, and I don't think we'll need the rest.
What was it like? I mean, running out like that, what was it like getting out? Because, I mean, some of the stories of people, you know, having to abandon their vehicles, and what was that like?
You know, we're running out with you can see the sparks in the air. It's like a snowstorm, but the snow hurts your skin and your eyes. And, you know, I'm running. Tanner, get in the car, because there's 2 trees on either side of the road that look like they're gonna crash into the road. And you know, we are just trying to get out of there as fast as we can by then, because that junk is bunk, dude.
And Tanner, I understand you're a storm chaser. I know you went over to help Orly. What was it like for you?
Yeah, for me, I was just happy and glad to be there just to help him in a time of need. I don't know, I haven't been friends with Orly too long, but I know him enough to know that I just really appreciate who he is as a human and who he is in general. And so just being in the proper place at the proper time to help him was just, you know, like this, like when natural disasters happen like this, just rallying around community, just like coming around people and just helping people out is just something that I think is kind of like the silver lining when it comes to disasters like this.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, and we've seen that in this community as well. You know, people calling up their neighbors, trying to help in any ways they can. Guys, I really appreciate talking to you. I'm glad you are safe, and you know, and Tanner, you know, good on you to help your friend. I wish you the best in the days ahead. Obviously, they're going to be difficult. Thank you. And look at this. It is. I mean, it is block after block here. You can see a fireplace in somebody's house. And just over here, it's, as you can see, look, we talked about whether, you know, this house soon probably is going to light. Look at this. Smoke is now pouring out of this house from the attic space. So it's only a matter of, it likely won't be long until this house goes up. The firefighters I was talking to earlier were saying that one of the things they look for is that smoke pouring out of the attic space, and when it's assigned to them, that house is very likely going to go, and obviously in that case it did as well. We want to talk to. Actually, I just want to just give you. I want you to hear from the woman who she and her husband own this house. This is the house they came back to when they were first married. They now use it as a B&B. They rent it out. I don't know if B&B, but they rent it out. I actually saw the renter earlier here today who came back to try to get some of her stuff. They just came back right before, literally 2 minutes or so before we went on air. Here's some of what she said. Brenda, so this is your house.
This is our house. Yeah, we bought it in 2013. And we lived here for 11 years, and we moved last year, but we rented it out as an investment property. And
this was your retirement?
This is our retirement. This is our nest egg. This is where we moved in when we got married. This is where our son was born. This was our house, and this was what we worked for. This was what we were going to use to retire. That was our investment.
You just got here. Did you know that it had...
We knew that both ends of the street were on fire, and our house was still standing as of this morning, along with these and the ones across the street.
It was standing until about 3 hours ago.
Yeah, and And yeah, so when we heard that it was on fire, we drove over and we heard that the firefighters were trying to put out the fire, and so we wanted to see for ourselves what the damage was, but it's gone. It's gone. It's a total loss.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and there's a lot of homeowners who have not been able to get back yet to see the level of destruction here. Bill Weir is in the Palisades. I want to go to him. Bill, how are things where you are?
It is unbelievable, Anderson. I know, I'm sorry, the superlatives have been...
When the new year was coming in, like by the end of the year, 2024, I was thanking God for, his kindness and just life, that I have my family with me. I got my daughter. I'm just being grateful to God. And I knew 2025, a lot was going to happen. But this right here, I never even thought about it. I mean, this is just the 9th day of 2025. And this is already happening. We already had the Tesla explosion in front of in Trump's international building in Las Vegas. We had the ISIS terrorist attack in New Orleans. Now we're having this. It's like back to back to back to back. We already had New York, a lot of situation going in New York subway, and this is going on. What do we have? What is in store for 2025? Just 9 days in, it's already blowing up.
Flying through the air from all of you, but it looks like a war zone here in the central village of Pacific Palisades, one of the most picturesque neighborhoods in America. This whole block of small businesses, salons and restaurants, cafes, galleries, completely gutted, bombed out, turned to ash. Anything that isn't brick is ash right now. Across the street behind the camera, another complex of doctors' offices, dentist offices, gone, bombed out. The glow of the flames in the distance is another art gallery. And we've seen these fire trucks just driving on by because they have other more pressing concerns. And I keep thinking, Anderson, about lessons learned. This reminds me so much of covering the Paradise Fire up in California over 5 years ago, Lahaina and Maui over a year ago now. Those lessons, painful lessons in how to defend mountain communities in Paradise, alarm systems in Lahaina, and this is going to be lessons in urban wildfire right now. This state is already in the middle of an insurance crisis in which many major insurance stopped writing policies, homeowner policies. The price has gone through the roof for people who call this place home now, and this will only add to that. This is one of the most expensive pieces of real estate, this zip code, anywhere in the United States, and so many of those, over 1,000 different structures burned to the ground. Paradise, over 16,000, smaller, but the kinds of homes here are very different. This is a whole nother layer. And you have to also think about adaptation and infrastructure and how we live with fire on an overheating planet right now and how to battle these. The big concern here as the hydrants went basically worthless in the middle of the night last night because this is the end of the water line here in the Palisades, and so the pipes get smaller as you get further away from the main lines. The pressure gets lower. They have 3 big 1 million gallon tanks that actually provide a lot of that water pressure, but they were tapping it with such speed that it couldn't fill up in time to keep the water pressure going. And so that's what we see. Lots of hands on deck. Mutual aid in this state. They've called in crews from 5 surrounding counties to help out, but there's only so much water in the grid, in the system to go around. And you're learning that when you have these big fires everywhere, it saps the entire system in ways that you could knock these blazes down in simpler times. Climate change does not bring these high winds. That's natural. But what we're seeing now is this overlap of Santa Anita wind season with this drought conditions, bone dry conditions in January. It's supposed to be the wet season right now, Anderson. And here's what we have. Right now, we've got a little break in the winds, giving our eyes and our lungs a little bit of a break right now. That could kick back up. But the big concern tonight is Santa Monica. More dense.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a sad news. And of course, a lot of people are going to start crying climate change at this point. Oh, it's climate change. Always this, always that. But California needs water for sure. So this is the right time for Gavin Newsom to make sure he signs the water restoration bill and stop closing dams. He hasn't built any new dams, knowing that California is a dry state. So, I mean, there's nothing else to do than to grow up, accept other people's ideologies. It's not just about you, Gavin Newsom. It's not about the salmon fish. It's not about the smelt fish. It's about the people. And this is going to teach Gavin Newsom and the people of California as a whole that you are not exempt. You are not, don't think because you live in your high heel in the hills. And I mean, the fire cannot come meet you. Well, the fire already got you now. Okay. The fire already got you. So you're going to have to F the fishes, okay? Nobody cares about the fishes, okay? We care about the people. We care about, human lives. We care about the valuable, okay? The pets, properties. But now, because of fish, you guys didn't sign the water restoration bill. That Trump has been screaming on top of his lungs that he wants the water restoration bill in California. But a lot of people are going to say, well, Trump, man, Trump never does anything. Trump this, Trump that. But the fact is, he actually wants to solve the issue. This is going to make Gavin Newsom bend and kiss the ring. You will sign the water restoration bill and you will build dams in California and you will allow water go into California. You have no choice, Newsom. This is it. This is it right here. It's over. Stupid ideologies is over. All that stupidity is gone. Water is coming to California. Quick.
At the federal, state, and local level so that it doesn't happen again.
President Trump has raised the issue of FEMA not having enough money, et cetera. This is your territory. Is the Congress going to fully fund what California needs in order to handle these fires, to recover from them if it's needed?
Absolutely, we should. This, of course, is a town that constantly disappoints people, but shame on all of us if we don't acknowledge that these disasters hit every state, and this is a really big one. People need to expect that their state, local, and federal government are going to be there, and we need to be.
I think that members always end up coming together when it comes to these disasters and doing the right thing by the people that are there. What really becomes the glue that puts it all together is the actual execution of the resources. And that's something that I think members of Congress need to do a much better job about, is making sure that the money gets on the ground to the people who need it the most in the manner and in this speed.
Of course, now the next thing is to rebuild, to bring back greatness into California. However, it's like there needs to be some sort of clause saying we're going to, of course, rebuild California. However, we need to stop these wildfires in California.
And just in December, we did together, Republicans and Democrats, refill much of that disaster fund. This is going to take a lot of money out of that.
So we are in, it's January 8th. President Trump is going to be inaugurated in just a few days.
About to say.
The incoming president, I hate to say it, but he has a history of threatening to not fund fire relief, specifically to California.
What did they do to Puerto Rico? I mean, we spent historic amounts of money on Puerto Rico.
Let me just play what President Trump said. This was just in October about actually fires in California.
We're going to take care of our farmers. We're going to take care of your water situation. And we'll force it down his throat. And we'll say, Gavin, if you don't do it, we're not giving you any of that fire money that we send you all the time for all the forest fires that you have.
Yeah, the only thing that I would say is that I would feel more comfortable if we decided to send additional resources to FEMA now, before he is sworn into office. So my challenge, my charge to the newly elected Speaker of the House is let's get a bill on the floor. Let's come together just like we came together when it dealt with Georgia and North Carolina and Florida. And let's make sure that California has the resources without delay, and make sure that there is no planned politics, because if you trust what he says, he has already made it clear that he likes to pick and choose who it is that he wants to support. And while the Congress may come together, I don't know what he's going to do with the veto pen. So I think that we should get it done while we still have a President Joe Biden.
Look, the Congress and the president, whether they do it now or 2 weeks from now, is going to obviously fund this and take care of this, and they need to. It's important. However, I do think this policy changes should come along with this relief money here. With whatever it takes to rebuild and to fix, we have to look at the root causes, whatever forest management problems there are, whatever water problems there are, whatever issues happen in the local governance. Rebuilding here is a good thing, and everybody should support it, but we ought to, as taxpayers, expect necessary policy changes at the federal, state, and local level so that it doesn't happen again.
Does that include climate change and addressing that?
Clearly, we need to be good stewards of the environment. And America, I think, has a better track record on this front than most people give us credit for. The reality is, in the last few years, we've reduced our carbon footprint by more than the next 15 carbon-reducing countries combined. I would say this. Clearly, President Trump speaks from the stump in a very different way than I do. It said that you campaign in poetry and you govern in prose. We actually know how this guy is going to govern. He was president for 4 years. He didn't cut off funding. He didn't look at people whose homes were burned down and say, forget about it. You had a Biden sign in your yard, so we're just going to pass on by your home. Those things did happen in the last administration, probably in a narrow way. But I got to tell you, Donald Trump will be there to help out people in California. He was there 4 years ago. He'll be there now.
I'm just going to read one quote. We have several of them from his time in office, but just one as it relates to this. This is Kevin Carroll, a former Homeland Security official, told the New York Times and Politico and The Guardian, Trump absolutely didn't want to give aid to California or Puerto Rico purely for partisan politics. I hear what you're saying about the hurricanes, what happened in North Carolina and Florida. I do, though, think that there is a track record here of Trump, too, where his own aides, there are several others I didn't read, but his own aides say they had to convince him that there were votes there for him.
Well, I think
there are no votes in Puerto Rico.
I think what's going to be important is
Which
that
is why
we have.
they didn't.
But what did we do? I mean,
Let me finish.
people make this
Excuse me,
allegation
Scott,
about
let me
Puerto
finish.
Rico,
What I
but it's
think
like we funded
is going to be important is when the Senate is confirming those cabinet members.
That's what I was
speaking with them about what their policy ideas are and what they're going to do. Because when you're reading things like that, we recognize that it was the individuals who were there as experts, cabinet members, officials, who were able to convince the president to do certain things or convince him not to do other things. And we want to make sure that those great minds are still there for him to be able to provide that guidance and support so that when Congress does give bills, good people like Destiny and others who are working on these things, to be able to put it in front of him to get him to sign it and to do the right thing.
I think that that's really the big.
Okay. I get it. All right. I get it. However, it's like these people are only concerned about rebuilding, restoration, which is 100% facts. You need to rebuild because all of this, a lot of people are still losing their properties. They've lost a lot. You know, people are already dead. 5 people confirmed by the Los Angeles Police Department. However, it's like nobody's talking about how to prevent the next wildfire. Nobody's saying, you know what, moving forward, what are we going to do to prevent another wildfire? These people are only concerned about how to rebuild. What about figuring out why is this fire happening every single year? Why? You have great minds in Silicon Valley. You have Hollywood in Los Angeles. You have the greatest film directors, greatest scientists in California. So what is going on right here? There should be a solution to this wildfire. It's not just about getting funding from Congress, getting funding from the White House, getting funding from the president. No, this is about preventing the next wildfire.
Issue is that he was surrounded by what I would consider to be actual experts, people that had actual resumes talking of diversity, equity, inclusion, and people just getting jobs and they're not qualified. I mean, when you look at the people that he has decided to nominate for these posts, we're talking about people that have never served a day in a lot of these various agencies that he's now like, oh, you should go ahead and head this agency. He has specifically decided that loyalist is who he wants around him. People that will not give him that honest kind of reflective moment and say, you know what, this isn't what we do. And that is my biggest concern about this. And listen, I wasn't here serving as a member of Congress, so I can't say what he did and didn't do from an up close and personal perspective when he was in
Shut
office
up.
before. But
So
what I
shut up.
can
Yeah,
say
yeah, yeah, yeah,
is
yeah,
what
yeah, yeah. So shut up. Don't be talking when I wasn't here. I wasn't here. So don't talk. Don't talk if you weren't there. Okay? Don't talk. Talking about I wasn't here. What are you talking about? Man, this people be getting me all hyped up. What are you talking about? This isn't what we do. What do you do? What do you do? Like, man, this is the thing, man. Well, I like the fact that everybody has the right to speak, okay? It's free speech, and this is why we can listen.
he threatens to do, along with the judgment that we've seen thus far going into the second administration, his judgment is way worse. I mean, looking at just the cabinet picks, obviously, we still have other decisions that he's going to have to make. But I can tell you one thing for sure, is that California will not have to worry if we get this done before Trump is in office. And if we wait, then I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay, I got to say two things. First off, when it comes to rhetoric, I get it. In private moments, Donald Trump complains about Gavin Newsom. I'm guilty of that too. I don't think the guy's a good governor. I think he's lousy. But you can't show me one single emergency disaster declaration that he rejected because he thought a governor was a bozo. And the idea that she's not qualified to get this done is totally without evidentiary basis. I have seen her in moments of terrible tragedy be there for people 24 hours a day, holding them as they cry, helping them gather their things after a tornado. She is going to be a total ass kicker. And this country will do.
Okay, well, there you have it. You know what I don't appreciate when I see people that look like me that just speak based off of what everybody thinks they should say. Because your brown skin doesn't mean your brain should be brown. Okay, it's just facts. All right. Oh, if we don't get this done now, then we need to be worried about when Trump gets into power. He wants to restore your goddamn state, of course. He wants to restore California. You think he doesn't want to restore California? That's why he's talking about water restoration bill. He wants it. However, you need to take responsibility for the fact that you refused to build new dams in California. You're saving fishes. You're saving smelt. You're saving salmons. Like, what are you doing? You have a dry city. You have a dry state. And right here, what I hear is Trump is going to be a problem. Trump is going to be a problem. Boy, Gavin Newsom is not a problem. Okay. He's not a problem. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? The same man that is trying to secure the border, the same man that's trying to make sure we get out of all this stupid spending in foreign wars, the same man that's trying to pull water into California, the same person who's trying to bring strength back to the United States. That's the same person that you're talking about. If you don't sign this bill now, people don't like taking accountability. When things happen in my household, like I told you, I take responsibility. Okay? If things is messed up, I take responsibility for the mess up. If things are going good, I take responsibility for the good things as well. So if you think that you're not going to take responsibility for the bad, so how are you going to take responsibility for the good? How? I don't get it.
delivering disasters under Donald Trump because of Kristi Noem.
All right, go ahead.
You're going to be in trouble with your wife because you said you weren't going to use
I
that.
know, that's right. Yeah, sorry, baby. Sorry.
You know, I find this conversation interesting because the current president is a Democrat. All of his appointees are Democrats. The leadership in California is all Democrats. We're doing a lot of doom casting about what Donald Trump may or may not do, but there doesn't seem to be much accountability for what the current people in charge didn't do that led to these issues, which I think the people of California should be asking those questions.
I think part of the issue is that there's a desire to cast blame when a natural disaster happens, and we don't actually know what caused this fire. So I think that's part of the problem.
She was about to say, well, climate change. Well, anyway, look, I can't even go back and forth with these people, okay? I'm just going to play you Gavin Newsom, all right? Let you hear what Gavin Newsom has to say.
Just want to show you some of what happened here on this street earlier today. There just are not enough fire crews able to deal with all the blazes that are going on. This house is completely gone. The next house next door.
And this is why I like the Democrats and the people who are not like, you know, who doesn't adhere to common sense. Somebody just said in the comment, I hope you don't get deported. You think I'm one of those people that would be in the United States for 25 years? Sir, I've been here for 25 years and Trump is just going to come in here and say you want to deport me? No. Ma'am, since you've been here for 24 years, you didn't know to go to USCIS, to go through Homeland Security to become a United States citizen. You didn't figure that out. But now you want to blame Trump for saying he wants to deport you. Newsflash, Genesis, I am a United States citizen. I've only been here for what? 8 years. Just 8 years, y'all. I've only been here for 8 years and I'm already a United States citizen. Common sense, okay? Common sense, because I know you need to follow the law of the land. Don't be coming into the United States illegally, all right? And when you do come, you go through Homeland Security. And when you get in here, you go through USCIS. They want you to become a United States citizen as long as you're capable, sensible, and you love the United States. And you can add to the United States. Unfortunately for you, I have some sense, okay? And I am a United States citizen. I'm not among those people that like to blame people, point fingers and say, you are the problem. You are the problem. No, I point the finger at myself. I am to be blamed. If I am not following the law, then the law needs to judge me. Okay? So I'm not among those people that will be here for 25 years and say, oh, I don't have a United States citizen. Then point, Trump is the issue. Trump wants to deport me. Well, you better go to USCIS or get an immigration lawyer and get a United States naturalization. I mean, what is wrong with you? You want to blame, oh, Genesis, you're going to deport you because you know I'm speaking facts and you don't like facts. And the fact that I became a United States citizen and I support Trump is burning. It's burning. It's like, why would you support Trump? Yeah, I support you. I support the OG, the legend, one of the greatest presidents the United States has ever seen. President Donald J. Trump. Like it or not, the 45th and now the 47th. And when he gets here, the Gulf of Mexico is going to be called the Gulf of America. Okay? Ukraine and Russia war would be ended. So you better get ready for prosperity inside the United States. Okay, it's America first. I love the United States. I think the United States is the greatest nation in the world. Whether you like it or not, I've met Americans face to face that tells me that America is not the greatest nation in the world. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You were born in the United States and you're talking about the United States is not the greatest nation? Oh, well, I don't get it. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Looks like the roof has just caught fire over there. Fire has also spread across the street. There are at least 3 houses ablaze. And then the fire, just in the last 2 minutes or 3 minutes, has spread to that vehicle, which was parked out front. There was a slight explosion as some of the gas went up. A fire truck passed by here. There's another larger blaze up there, which they are going to try to deal with right now. We're at Harriet in Altadena, Harriet Street. The fire has spread now to this house, which is really now engulfed in flames. But I mean, it's just surreal. I mean, look at this, even a small thing like this tree is burning from the inside. So on this block, I count 1, 2, and all the houses on this side are gone. Now the fire, look, this house is engulfed. It's very much likely that this house will be next because these winds are now just whipping onto this house. Yeah, it is just devastating. And what's so surreal is look down the block. It is block after block here in this area in Altadena. I mean, there's a huge fire there, burning several houses. Any other time, there would be fire crews blocking off this entire area. But there's just too many fires, and they've just got it's triage. We come upon Captain Chris Dinelli of the LA Fire Department. His crew have been out more than 24 hours. How's water? I mean, obviously the Palisades have had water issues.
Our hydrant ran dry about 2 minutes ago.
And is that the water pressure issue? Or
we are, because there's so many engines tapping the grid and multiple grids, we're basically just taking all the water out of the grid.
So what do you do? I mean, you want to fight these fires.
We do have water tenders, vehicles that shuttle water to us that carry 2,500 gallons of water, but again, they're stretched thin as well, so they have a lot of demand placed on them.
So on a scene like this right now, what can you do?
We are looking at houses that we can save. So things that we can do, we can clear brush away from fences, things that we can do with our hands or with tools, and we just help some homeowners get out. So first thing is rescue operations. We want you out. Houses can be replaced, all that, lives cannot.
Lives cannot. That was just around the corner here earlier today. We're going to, I just want to show you what's happening right now. So this house, as we talked about, is burned down. The house next door has not. Fire crews are here. They do have water in their trucks, and so they are hosing down right now. We actually got splashed by it. They're hosing down the roof of this house in the hopes that that will stop this house from being destroyed by this fire, because embers coming, I mean, when you see the flames from here licking that house, so they're trying to keep that roof wet. The captain was saying earlier, they really look at the attics. If smoke is pouring out of the attics, if the roof is on fire, if it's gotten to that point, if it gets into the attic, then the house, if they don't have enough water, then the house is going to go. Gavin Newsom was in this area earlier, about an hour or so ago, and I spoke to him just up the block. Here's our conversation. What's the latest?
Well, 5 dead, likely more. Just complete and utter devastation. I've been in a lot of these fires, a lot. Going back to Paradise, and this approximates Paradise. It's not a numeric, it's just a feeling, sense of loss, place, belonging.
Still no containment.
No, we're at zero containment. The winds have been a little bit more favorable, as you've seen in the last few hours. So we've got the helicopters back up. We've got some fixed-wing aircraft. Out on the coasts, it's a little different. It's pretty intense. We have 23 aerial assets just at the Palisades, but a lot of them are not operational because of those winds. So it's a combination of challenges. That said, we've depleted all our resources. Northern California, we'd already pre-positioned on Sunday. Hundreds of personnel, special units, water tenders, dozers, engines, helicopters, and it wasn't enough. And now we're getting the mutual aid system, the EMAC system. Governors from all across the country are calling. Oregon sending a few dozen engines, and Arizona, Utah. We're just grateful for all the support.
A lot of these firefighters I was talking to on the street, they've been working, 26, 27 hours. Are they? That's just going to continue? I mean, there's enough folks here.
Yeah, I mean, we got a few thousand people working on this, and luckily we were fully staffed. The U.S. Forest Service is staffed up traditionally at this time of year. Remember, we're in January.
It's supposed to be wet this time of year.
It's supposed to be wet. I mean, so this is anomalous. I remember Paradise happened in November. I mean, so there's no fire season in California. It's year round, but to have this level, the acuity of fires is without precedent. These winds are without precedent. And the challenge is these winds are going to continue on and off, a little bit less intense. Last night, you got 80, 90 mile an hour winds. These guys were just up there to try to mitigate the embers going 2 miles and getting just to go a quarter of a mile to try to save some.
What is the situation with the water? Obviously, in Palisades ran out last night in the hydrants. I was talking to the firefighter on this block. They left because there was no water in the hydrant here.
The local folks are trying to figure that out. I mean, just when you have a system that's not dissimilar to what we've seen in other extraordinarily large.
Did you hear what he just said? Anderson just asked him, what's wrong with the hydrant? There are no water in the fire hydrant. He says the locals are going to figure that out. The locals are going to figure that out? Gavin Newsom? Really?
This block, they left because there was no water in the hydrant here.
The local folks are trying to figure that out. I mean, just when you have a system that's not dissimilar to what we've seen in other extraordinarily large-scale fires, whether it be pipe, electricity, or whether it just be the complete overwhelm of the system. I mean, those hydrants are typical for 2 or 3 fires, maybe 1 fire. You have something at this scale, but again, that's got to be determined by the local
authorities. Were saying part of it is the gravity.
And people in the chat are saying that we should not hold anybody accountable, that this is a natural disaster. It's a natural disaster. Yes, it is. But you have an incompetent governor called Newsom, nicknamed by the OG, the legend, the 45th, now the 47th President Donald J. Trump. He nicknamed him Newsom. And he's acting like a scum, basically, because what are you talking about? People are losing their lives. People are losing their properties. People are literally running away from something that they call their retirement home. And here saying, where there's no water in the fire hydrant, the locals are going to figure that out. The locals.
It's these giant tanks on top of the mountains, which...
Yeah, well, they're going down. We were just with the team. They're getting the tenders down to Pasadena, filling things back up, coming back up. So it's just...
Are aerial assets now able to fly?
Yeah, they've been the last few hours, particularly helicopters. Fixed wings been up a little bit earlier, but out on the coast, it's been a little more stubborn because those winds are swirling. The challenge is, you can see that they can fly. It's not a question of turbulence or anything else. It's just the mitigations flying all over the place. So it doesn't have any benefit necessarily. So we've got National Guard working rattlesnake teams out there on the line. We're also trying to bring them in to supplement some of the law enforcement efforts as well. It's all hands on deck across the spectrum. The biggest thing, though, Anderson, that happened today, sincerely, and you can appreciate it in a community like this, to get that direct individual assistance with the major disaster declaration within 36 hours of this incident from the president was a game changer for this community, for small businesses, et cetera. So not that we're thinking about the next phase, but we have to be thinking concurrently about the next phase is how we rebuild this community. But right now we're in this mitigation phase. We're in the public safety phase.
I hate to even ask this question, but the president-elect chose to attack you, blame you for this.
One can't even respond to it. I mean, people are literally fleeing. People have lost their lives. Kids lost their schools. Families completely torn asunder. Churches burned down. This guy wanted to politicize it.
No, it's not. It's not about playing politics, Gavin. It's about accountability. Nobody's saying we're politicizing it. No, nobody's politicizing this issue. He's just saying that why wouldn't you let water go into California? Why wouldn't you let the people have some water? That's all he's saying. He's not politicizing it. He's already the president of the United States in 11 days, so he's not trying to win an election. Wait, what do you mean he's politicizing it? He's not running an election right now. He is the 47th confirmed. He is confirmed as the 47th president of the United States. So you think, well, who are you talking about? He's politicizing it. No, he's just letting you know that your situation could have been fixed. You could have had water in your fire hydrant right now, but you politicized it.
I have a lot of thoughts, and I know what I want to say. I won't. I stood next to a president of the United States of America today, and I was proud to be with Joe Biden. And he had the backs of every single person in this community. He didn't play politics, didn't try to divide any of us.
Finally, your message to the folks here, to this community.
I mean, we have their backs, and we're going to be back, and this is going to be a long recovery process. But look, we have residents moving back into Paradise, California. I've seen remarkable recovery efforts. I've seen remarkable sense of community, purpose, resilience. So, I'm not just playing the politician role of optimism. I really am long-term optimistic. But the devastation to hear people wailing and crying, concerned about their pet, their family, they're just bewildered about what they're experiencing. And again, not just experience. I was not talking past tense. This is happening in real time. 0% containment.
Look at him. 0% containment. Oh, 0% containment. You can make this up, man. You cannot make this up. You can never make this up. California wildfires, ladies and gentlemen. It is burning in California.
As 5 wildfires are still raging. Entire communities already in ruins. According to the latest update, the 2 most destructive fires, the Eaton and the Palisades fires, are 0% contained. Together, they have torched nearly 28,000 acres. They've destroyed thousands of structures. Look at these homes here. Aerial footage showing just an apocalyptic scene. Entire neighborhoods wiped out. Homes, schools, grocery stores, gas stations, all gone. The LA fire chief calling the Palisades, fire, quote, one of the most destructive natural disasters in the history of Los Angeles. At least 5 people are dead, but the sheriff warns that number could grow.
At one point, we'll be able to do a more thorough search of these impacted areas. Some of them look like a bomb was dropped in them, where we will be able to bring in canines and other things to help us hopefully not discover too many fatalities. That's our prayer. But this is a crisis, and we don't know what to expect, but we're ready for everything. So be patient with us when you ask us about death toll numbers. Right now, frankly, we don't know yet.
CNN's Julia Vargas is near the Eaton fire in Altadena, California, where officials say at least 5 people have died. Julia, how are things looking there now?
Brianna, that bomb analogy, it's quite right. Look, this is the kind of scene that we're seeing everywhere in Altadena. Just a whole block of destroyed homes, just leveled. There's gas lines still burning. That's what we've been seeing over and over here. Like 180,000 people displaced. That is huge. What an impact it has in these communities. And like all the way down, I'm not sure how far you can see, but these down power lines, this is what people are going to come back to. We've been moving around trying to see more and more of these neighborhoods throughout the day to get you some more reporting. And we've seen residents trying to come back, but authorities basically saying, look, you can't yet. It's too dangerous. It's too soon. 180,000 people displaced. We also have 200-something households, 215,000 households without power, because about half of those been turned off because officials are concerned about what that could mean for sparking further fires. We're hearing from meteorologists that there could be more winds coming tonight and through the weekend, and that could spread this fire further, even though for now it has stopped growing. But that is after it has damaged about 1,000 structures and put a lot more at risk, and all those people that are still without a place to go. Yes, we can think about all of the logistical challenges that are coming in the coming days, Brianna. People are going to want to come home. They're going to want to come back to the Los Angeles area, and the infrastructure is going to be overwhelmed because it is already. We are hearing from city officials that the power, water, we talked earlier about the water issues that the city is having. That's just because there's so much demand. People need to have water to fight this fire, and yet it's just not getting to them at times. So many challenges that these officials are now facing and might face again in the coming days.
All right, Julia Vargas Jones with the latest from Altadena. Thank you for that. Boris?
These fires have been supercharged by some of the strongest Santa Ana winds on record, at times gusting up to 100 miles an hour. CAL FIRE Battalion Chief Brent Pasqua says it was like fighting a fire inside a hurricane. He joins us now live. Sir, thank you so much for being with us. I understand that the winds, at least for the last few hours, have died down somewhat. Do you have an update on how much of the fires have been contained at this point?
We don't have any new containment numbers, but this welcomed break in the winds is going to allow us to get that number to come up, to at least get some containment on this fire. Because the last 2 days with those strong winds, 80-mile-an-hour winds, there was just nowhere to anchor in and start putting this fire out. It was just trying to save lives.
And on that work of trying to save lives, I know one of the difficult tasks that firefighters have in situations like this, as certain areas that have been inaccessible become accessible, is finding folks that maybe did not get out. I wonder if you have any update for us on the death toll.
I don't have any reports right now, nothing official. Our damage inspection teams have just arrived on scene yesterday to go in and sift through the damage, and nothing official as of now.
We are glad to hear that at least the numbers appear to be holding where they are, even though it is anticipated that they may climb. I do wonder, sir, much has been made about this $17 million budget cut to the LA Fire Department last summer. How much have resources been a problem for you? Do you have what you need to fight these fires?
Boris, I'm not sure exactly what the numbers and the budget cut, but I know when we requested resources, we got them. They were en route. They're on the road. They're here now. There's still more coming. So I haven't had any effect as far as we couldn't get anything because of a budget cut, but we're getting what we need. I know that for sure.
So what would you say are the biggest?
I can't even, overemphasize how sad and tragic this is in Los Angeles County, California. However, this is just, would I say this could have been prevented? Maybe. Okay, but I don't want to be like that. I just want to say, you know what? Hopefully everybody made it out of their homes before this happened. And I just hope they find some sort of, strength from God. And hopefully they can, rebuild, start again, and just get some sort of strength to keep on moving forward, because this is sad. And it is too sad, y'all. It is absolutely sad. It is sad to see this, to watch this. It is too sad. Absolutely sad. Homes burning like to ashes, and you have no water in the fire hydrant, and you have a governor, you have a mayor, you have leaders. How is that even possible? And you pay the highest taxes in the country.
With more, Adam Carolla himself is with us. He sadly also, like so many in Southern California, forced to evacuate his home not long ago. How close was the fire to your house?
It may have been in my house. I still don't know. I'm in Malibu. I'm near the coast, near PCH, and many structures around me, almost all the structures around me have burned along PCH and in the mountains. So I still haven't gotten confirmation whether my home is there or gone.
Not a good feeling. Let's go to the story that you told. One thing, we have similar blue-collar roots. You wanted to be a fireman. You were told to basically you'd be contacted in 7 years. That happened. And then you go, you show up, and tell that story again. What actually happened?
The letter went to the old house I lived in, my dad's home. I'd been a construction worker for 7 years at this point, but I figured I'd take the test anyway on a whim. It was on a Saturday at Hollywood High. I stood in line, and I kept asking everyone around me, when did you sign up? Because it seemed bizarre to me that I'd signed up 7 years earlier. And when I asked the girl behind me, a woman of color who is diminutive, by the way, 5'0", she said 3 days ago.
Wow, unbelievable. What is your reaction? The mayor was in Ghana. The mayor comes back. The mayor is asked a lot of questions. We just played her non-response. Is that her answer to the people of Los Angeles that are losing everything?
I mean, that's how we are in LA. The city officials are, very left-leaning and very deep blue, and they get actually angry when you ask them any substantive questions. They're not really even used to being asked any difficult questions because the media's in their hip pocket as well. So they don't even know how to react when a tough question is asked.
Are there any efforts that you know of in Southern California to have controlled burns? Any efforts that you know of to remove the brush that is the kindling for fires like we're watching tonight?
We had a major fire in Malibu 3.5 weeks ago. It's not like it was 3.5 years ago. This is an ongoing issue, and Newsom likes to say it's now year-round because he wants to talk about climate change, so he's the first guy who's aware of it. They want to blame everything on climate change, but it's really their inaction. That's why we're in this predicament.
But they won't. Why is it? Why are they so reluctant to use the known practices that work? Removing the brush, removing the debris, having controlled burns. Where is this reluctance coming from? Are they afraid of endangered species? Because if they're doing this for the environment, okay, that sounds great on paper, but I would imagine that the skies over Los Angeles and Pacific Palisades right now are not exactly the healthiest in the country.
Well, first things first. The second Donald Trump said to clean up the forest, that's when you knew it wasn't going to happen, because whatever he says, we do the opposite of. He wants to build a wall on the border. We want to tear it down. He likes ivermectin. We say it's horse paste. He wants to clean up the forest. We reject everything. So we'll do the opposite of everything Trump ever suggested, number one. The state is run by a handful of environmental lunatics, like the Coastal Commission, 8 or 12 unappointed or unelected people deciding what goes on in the entire state. That's how it's always been, a handful of lunatic nut jobs running everyone else into the ground.
So the odds are pretty high that you probably lost your house today.
I would say it's a coin toss at best. I've seen a lot of footage of houses that were around my house burnt to the ground. There's still some hope that my house is still intact, but if it is, it'll be a miracle.
Well, it's pretty unbelievable. I mean, the fact that the government would put, quote, environmental concerns and then allow an environmental disaster in its place is pretty unbelievable to me. Do you have any message for these elected officials? Anything you want to say? Any last word?
Yes. You're going to lose a whole lot of votes if you don't get it together. People, and look, you got to understand, Malibu, the Palisades, Santa Monica, these are deep blue progressive cities who vote and raise money and bend over backwards for these people. But they don't have a house anymore, and that's because of you. So it's time to get it together.
I don't know. I don't have faith in the people of California that they can turn the state red anytime soon. But I do. I pray for the people of California, you, your neighbors, everybody. I hate seeing people's lives up in flames, literally, like we're watching tonight. Adam, Godspeed, my friend. We're
too sad to see. Hopefully turns red on the next election.
Good evening, I'm Trace Gallagher. It's 10 p.m. on the East Coast, 7 o'clock here in Los Angeles, and this is a special edition of America's Late News, Fox News at Night. And breaking tonight, the most destructive fires in the history of California. That is the new label being given to the Palisades fire and the Eaton fire. And Californians now entering a second night of raging wildfires that have already claimed 5 lives, destroyed well over 1,000 homes and businesses in some of the wealthiest areas in Los Angeles. And now apparently push does come to shove as Southern California has a brand new fire burning tonight in the Hollywood Hills. Fire chiefs already acknowledging that they do not have the resources to battle 2 major fires, much less another.
Yeah, let's get out of here. We tried, bro. Gotta get out of here. Oh, holy.
Steve's Pet Store, it's gone. Foxes, gone. El Patron, gone. Everything in this neighborhood. Altadena is not existing right now.
Yeah, and these fires are also sparking a political firestorm, revealing how unprepared California leaders were for an event like this.
We have no percentage of containment.
He's run California into a hole. He let the vegetation overgrow. He didn't help prepare the fire department to have the resources they need.
As for Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, well, here's what she had to say.
Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
No, she has nothing to say.
And in the middle of the horror, an act of patriotism, a firefighter bravely climbing a flagpole to keep Old Glory from hitting the ground. We will hear from victims and those fighting the fires throughout the next 2+ hours. We have Team Fox coverage. Matt Finn is now heading to the latest fire in the Hollywood Hills. He will join us in moments. Christina Coleman is live in Altadena, which is being ravaged by the deadly Eaton fire. But we begin with the national correspondent, Jeff Paul. He's live for us in Pacific Palisades. Jeff, what does it look like tonight?
Trace, I wish I had some good news to report, but the winds are really picking up right now. It's very strong, and we continue to see scenes like this, homes on fire all throughout the Pacific Palisades. This is Sunset Boulevard, and this is just one of the many stories, the thousands of stories that we'll be telling over the next couple of days. Homes on fire just like this and spreading very quickly. You can see those embers coming off the top of that house there. When that happens, the winds just pick those up and send it to somewhere else that isn't on fire, and it just goes over and over again. It's a domino effect. And just look at the power of the heat from these flames melting this car. You can see some of the melted metal just right there on the ground from the heat from these flames and this fire. And off into the distance, that will be the main concern tonight as we stand out here in the Pacific Palisades. It's the fires coming down the hill. The wind is moving from up there down here to this direction to the south. And many of the homes, as we drove in today, you know, we would see them and we would think, wow, that home is safe. But now with this wind coming in and carrying those embers down, many of those homes are now once again on fire. So it is the story we will be telling out here tonight. And with the night hours going on right now, it makes it only harder for the firefighters out here. That combination of how dark it is, visibility is low with all the smoke, and then on top of that, you've got these strong wind gusts that just do not seem to let up, Trace.
And the firefighters that are out there are absolutely exhausted. Jeff Paul, we'll get back to you throughout the night. Jeff, thank you. Well, the Eaton fire, which broke out during our coverage last night, now covers more than 10,000 acres. It has spread that fast in a very short amount of time and has now claimed at least 5 lives. Christina Coleman is live in Altadena, California with the latest on that fire. Christina, this is really our first up-close look at the Eaton fire. What is it you're seeing?
Hi, Trace. You know, it is devastating. I'm just going to get out of the way so you could see it immediately. You could see these flames just ripping through this house. This house has existed here for more than 40 years. I just spoke with a gentleman who told me this house belongs to the parents of his childhood friend. You could tell that he was very emotional. I mean, look at it. Look at it just falling apart there. The roof just collapsed. Firefighters were out here just moments ago working on this house. And just within seconds, as you were reading your intro, Trace, this fire flared flared back up. You could see the flames ripping through the roof of this house. Now, this fire broke out yesterday around 6:20 in the evening, fueled by the strong winds in this area. It has since burned more than 10,000 acres. And as you mentioned, sadly, it has claimed 5 lives. More than 750 firefighters are working to try and put out this fire. It has damaged more than 1,000 structures. And I mean, this is just one of many homes that we passed by when we drove into this area. You saw house after house just absolutely leveled. It was heartbreaking. You saw cars that were just burned. It was sad just imagining people, having to leave here, leaving behind all their belongings, leaving behind the memories that they've made in the houses. But again, the firefighters, they're not giving up. They're working hard, tirelessly around the clock to try and contain this fire. But again, the Eden fire breaking out in Altadena, just north of Pasadena, yesterday evening, and it has scorched more than 10,000 acres and has since claimed 5 lives. Just very, very devastating, Trace.
Indeed it is, Christine.
Thank you for tuning in to the live stream. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. And this is sad news. I know. It's been a bunch of sad news from the beginning, from the New Orleans ISIS attack, from the Las Vegas Tesla Cybertruck explosion, to New York subway situation. Now, this happening in Los Angeles County. It's been a hell of a 9 days to start the year. It's new things every single time. New things every single time. However, hopefully everything is going to subside soon and we're going to find some sense of relief moving forward, and everybody's going to be okay in California, in New York, in New Orleans, in Las Vegas, everywhere around the United States, across the United States. And I hope you that you're watching right now, I hope you're fine with your family. I hope everything is good with you. I hope you are in good health. I hope your family is wonderful. And God is great. That's all I can say. God is great. Oh, dear Lord Jesus. This is sad to see, but life goes on, and accountability is key in this case. So moving forward, California, Los Angeles County would have to be rebuilt. It may take decades to build it over again. It's going to come back stronger for sure. We know how these things go. It's going to come back, and when it does come back, it's going to come back shiny and much more better. However, moving forward, they have to figure out what they need to do to make sure this types of fire does not happen in California anymore, which is sign the water restoration bill. Okay? Newsom would be out in like probably 2-3 years from now, because he may want to run for the presidential election in 2028 alongside J.D. Vance in the Republican Party. So Newsom in the Democratic Party, and JD in the Republican Party. This may be the two people going head to head in the 2028 presidential election. But this right here, the way he handles this situation right here is going to play a big role moving forward. So he better sign the water restoration bill. Let some water come into the city, into the state, because the fishes, the smelt, the salmons, they're in the water. They're living life. Your people are losing properties, losing valuable things. Artwork are being lost because of the fire, definitely. People, like 5 people are already dead, confirmed by the Los Angeles Police Department. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, some people say impeach him now. Oof. I don't know how that's going to work, man. Californians love their blue states. They love their Democratic governors and mayors and all that stuff. So I don't know if that's going to work, impeach him or whatever. I mean, take a look at Biden. Biden was never impeached. I mean, this man was falling off stairs, walking into the Amazon forest to meet the jaguars. Okay, in the Amazon forest. Biden was literally walking into the Amazon forest. He wasn't impeached. Okay, he was going to see the jaguars. He wasn't impeached for going to see the jaguars in the Amazon forest. Okay, so I don't know if Gavin Newsom would be impeached. It's going to be hard. I mean, I don't know if that's going to work. Biden has been sleeping on world stage, falling off airplane stairs, falling off stages, giving rambling speeches on the stage, even with teleprompters. So he wasn't impeached. But Trump was impeached twice for being sharp. Okay. This man was impeached twice for being sharp, for wanting the best for the United States, for putting America first. Okay. Impeached twice. So look, in 11 days, the legend, the OG, former president, and the future president of the United States, President Donald J. Trump, will be back in the White House. So moving forward, look, I get it. I get it. Okay. I get it. We're going to get strength back into the United States, and everybody is going to know that it's the United States first, America first, and we're going to contain all of this stuff happening in California. And with that being said, God bless you guys. Thank you to the veterans. Thank you to the military personnel, people who are still serving, active military members. God bless you. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. The OG is back for sure. God bless you. God bless you. Subscribe to the channel. Double tap your screen and also join the membership of the channel. It is $4.99. God bless you guys. Thank you for supporting and thank you for being a part of the live stream. You guys are the best. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What else? What else haven't I covered? What else haven't I covered on this live stream? We're going to have another live stream at night anyway. This is 4 p.m. in Georgia. I am in Georgia. I'm streaming from Georgia. It is 4 p.m. here in Georgia, and it's the 9th of January, 2025. I will be back here at night, probably around maybe 9, 10 p.m. But with that being said, you guys stay safe. Stay safe. Stay safe, okay? Make sure you stay safe. God is great, and I love you guys. God bless you. God is great, all right? I'm signing out. Genesis.